tipping on a Sunday, cruising in my low, finna have a
Welcome to Los Angeles.
Welcome to the land of the scandalous, Los Angeles, where all we do is bang, so they claim that they can't handle us. Came up in the 80s where everything was crazy. Moved to the valley of San Gabriel to Shady. Learned the politics and the rules, it was cool. By 7 years later, I'm claiming the hood too. Just a product of the block of the radio that you live in. Where the hooders keep you trapped and your enemies got you backed in. Where the black and brown got the same struggle. Either go to the pen or try to make it out this white bubble that they call the inner city, the hood, the ghetto. We either bang Crip or Blood or Sorrento. I'm with the homie Sticks trying to play my part. We just left the church on our way up to Garvey Park. Either way, all we want to do is live safe and live our life righteous by faith.
This is how we do it in the streets of California. This is how we put in work when we run up on ya.
See, I can make you dance, yeah, and I can make you shake, but I ain't here to entertain, I'm here to change the way you think.
All righty, here we go. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, everyone. This is the world premiere of Let's Talk About It podcast with me, G-Lew, and this guy right here, my homeboy, Big D, keeping it real from Whittier, California.
What's going on, everybody? Not only let's talk about it, let's be about it.
That part right there. Welcome, my homeboy, Big D. This is the world premiere once again. Like I told everyone, this is our first episode.
You know what I mean? So it's just fresh. You know what I mean? Don't critique us too much. You know what I mean? But we plan to have a great show tonight and many, many more to come. After this is just the start of a lot of things. What we want to do with this show is take it to different levels and different heights and different conversations and topics that people haven't, not that people haven't heard, but we really want to expand, teach, reach, you know what I mean, and try to change lives on this one right here. We're going to talk about real stories, real stuff we did in our past. We all don't have great past. That's what makes us so great. We come from broken past, broken homes, broken ties, neighborhoods, gang affiliations, you know what I
Right.
mean, bad things, you know what I mean, but we are here today in a new light, you know what I mean. That guy right there is a new man, you know what I mean, gave his life to God. He's married, you know what I mean, family man, doing great things, great positive guys. So we connected somewhat spiritually, I would say. You know what I mean? And we're here to do this, Brutus, like my homeboy Bandit would say. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna go ahead and introduce my boy Big D and let him give his spill on why he keeps it real. Big D, ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Like I said, not only we're going to talk about it, we're going to be about it, man. And it's pretty honored and it's pretty awesome that you know, I mean, our first guest is, like we said, we're trying to hit all genders and all areas, as G-Lew said. And today we're going to have a you know, a female today, the first podcast. We discussed it a little bit, and we thought it would only be right that we represent and be male figures and representing the ladies first. So not only do we have a special guest, you know, she is my wife, and she has a story to tell, because not only men have something to say, but women do too.
That part, man. And oh yeah, tell them some more about we got about tonight, but tell them a little bit more about what from your perspective, what we plan to do with this show or podcast or whatever they want to call it.
Right. So, like, you know, the way we talk, you know, let's talk about it, you know, and that's the way, that's the title of the algorithm. And we just want to just, like I said, share experiences and share life stories. I got my wife, was introduced to her a long time ago, and you know, we built a relationship not knowing that it's a small world. And you know, she's related, you know, not only to G-Lew's homeboys, but you know, those are her brothers. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. This world is a lot smaller than what it is, and relationships are very important and customized to how the situation occurred. Me and G-Lew are building a relationship, and we kind of figured not only through family and not it's friendship too. So we're expanding, and I thought it would be very important to, like I said, present a female first. And, you know, she has an amazing story. You know, sometimes I still trip out on her story, and I see how, you know, I mean, how she grew and how she's still growing and where she's going to, you know. So it's a very important that we just, you know, have her on and just let her tell her story.
Yes, I agree. And who we're bringing on tonight once again is Big D's wife. Like I said, man, it's crazy how small the world is and how things work. And like I said, I just believe we're brought together spiritually, and like you said, not knowing the connection we have and all of that, you know, being your wife, being related just like family, my homeboy's sister, and you know what I mean? It's just a beautiful thing. So it's some things I want to ask her as well. But she has an incredible story, ladies and gentlemen. I can't speak for her, so we're gonna let her speak for herself. Our special guest for tonight, I'll let the homie Big D go ahead and introduce her properly because he can do it better than me.
So without further ado, here you go. I'm bringing in my lovely wife, you know, Monica, and you know, she's coming on, and let's bring her on.
Good evening. Good evening. What's up, Monica?
Hi, everyone. Really excited to be here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. It's a little bit of an echo, but we can hear you.
You have to close that other window, like I told you up there. Look at the top left.
Shout out to Wes Carson in the building. Everyone in the chat, much love.
Is that better? Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Can you hear her, G-Lew?
Oh, like it's real. It's lower. I could barely hear her now.
Okay, hold on. Let me check.
Hold on. Looks like her mic is muted. Hold on, bro. Hold up. Hold up. Okay. There we go. Your mic was muted. Yeah, it's still your mic was muted though.
There's an echo.
It's probably because you guys are in the same. I think it's because you guys are too close.
That's what I said.
Yeah, hold on.
You're too close to me, babe.
Hello, everyone.
You're too close to me. You have to go either to memories.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
We'll get it, guys. Thanks
I
for
think
your
it's too close. You know what I mean? It will have an echo if it's too close or another. What's up, everyone out there in the chat showing love? We appreciate the love. I can't wait. People are here to hear that story.
there.
Yeah, we're trying to fix it.
That's real.
Sound a little better?
Yes, thanks, babe.
Yeah, that's better.
That's
Yes. Big D. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, much better. Okay, we're ready now. So I'll let go. Go ahead, Big D. You got it, bro.
Yeah, so without further ado, like I said, I have my lovely wife of 17, 18 years, babe?
Yeah. 17,
17, about 17, 18 years. Like I said, this woman is very inspiring. We've been through a lot. She has a heavy testimony, a heavy story of her lifestyle. Sometimes I'm amazed, through the things that she's been through herself and her as being a woman and how she carries herself, not only spiritually, but mentally, physically. I want you guys to know nobody's perfect in a relationship. We're still growing and we're still learning with one another. But as I say, we're committed. And I think relationships should be all about, commitment and, loving your spouse and try to understand them too, from understanding because it wasn't easy, but, I'll let her tell the story.
I was, growing up, I grew up in Willie Mead Homes. It's over there in Lincoln Heights. I grew up on Bloom Street. For those of you, who know the area, probably some of my friends and family are on here right now. Hi, everybody. I invited everybody to, to just support and stuff because that's important. We need support from one another and we need each other to hold each other up. And so that means a lot to me. So I grew up in Lincoln Heights on Main Street. It's over there. For those of you who don't know, it's like the most common places are like Chinatown, downtown LA, the county jail, the men's county jail. We're like the backyard, we live there. I mean, that's pretty much what I saw when I played at the park, in the back. We used to play at the park and stuff there. And, so that's pretty much where I grew up. I have 6 brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest. So, I really felt like I had to really set an example for my brothers and sisters, which, at that time, it was hard to know that I had to set that example because the pressure was on, And so just growing up there, my grandma had 13 kids. So I have a really big family. I have 10 uncles and 10 aunts and 3 uncles, which one of them was from the area where I come from. He used to be a part of that, that gang there. And, it's Dogtown, and that's the gang that I grew up around and stuff. And, I grew up with a lot of kids and, growing up was so fun. I mean, I really didn't know that I was, how they say, you grew up in poverty or whatever. Like, I never really looked at those things. I always been a positive person. I'm not a pessimist. I'm an optimist. Poverty or whatever. Like, I never really looked. I just loved growing up with a lot of kids around and stuff. And so it was pretty fun growing up. And I can also relate to my husband when he talked about the fire hydrants, and we used to pitch tents outside, and we used to drink water from the water hose. Was with the best water to drink when you were thirsty. We didn't have all this, bottled water and stuff. We couldn't really afford that anyways. So, but I just
the good old water district, right? The good old municipal water district.
It was fun, I grew up in a single family home. My mom was raising me and my brother, it was just me and him. And, but the reality was my mom never made us feel like we were poor. not that we were poor, but yeah, my mom was on welfare. You know what I'm saying? We did the government cheese, we did the food stamps. We grew up on, you know, and to me, I mean, the way my mom taught me is that as long as you have food on the table and you have clothes on your back and you have a roof over your head, that's something to be grateful for. So that's kind of like how I grew up, despite, you know, not having a father. My father wasn't there, but I didn't really care because I didn't have discipline. So it was like better for me. You know, that's what I thought. I was like, better for me. I don't got rules. All my friends have a father and they're over there. They can't come out after a certain time, you know? So I think that's where it all started, me being an unruly child. You know what I mean? I was really unruly. Like I had no rules. I didn't like authority. I didn't like nobody telling me what to do. I didn't, you know, I always say, like, if my mom don't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do, you know, and I was a very rebellious child, you know, and I think a lot of it was lack of direction, lack of discipline, you know, in my life. So I kind of just did what I wanted, you know, 9 years old, coming in at 1 a.m. and, you know, I was out there with all the guys and, you know, just peeking, seeing what they're doing, all the older people. I was raised a lot with older people. So I had to grow up really fast, you know. I grew up.
So quick question. I got quick question. I got a question. You know, it's funny how you say, you know, it's funny. Like I said, I hadn't even discussed it with my wife either. But you know, it's funny. Like she said, you know, she grew up in the projects. I grew up in the neighborhood. You know, right there in State Street, and it's not too far from each other. Lincoln Heights and Boyle Heights are pretty, you know, pretty close. So she was like only like 15, 20 minutes away, not knowing that, man, later on in life we were going to meet each other. But what I wanted to say is, as you said, you know, it's funny. So growing up, you were hanging around with the kids and everything else, and it was kind of fun. I remember hanging out on the streets and everything too, and coming in late. So what type of, when you say kids, like you grew up with, was it just all race? Were there different races there? I mean, that's something I never really asked you. Was there, you know?
Well, yeah, it was blacks and Mexicans. That's, you know, some of the guys from Dogtown were African Americans. It's a proper way to say it, but, you know, the blacks, that's what we would say, you know, a lot of them, you know, there was a few, not many, but I mean, I really was never really.
They're from Dogtown?
Yeah, G-Bone. I don't know if I'm supposed to say his name, but he's from there, you know, so I know like one or two, and I know in other, you know, neighborhoods too. So, you know, we really
was there like whites or like Orientals and or like
yeah, I've had a few Chinese friends growing up. Not really. I don't think white. I don't think no.
Because I just want to address the situation for you guys that don't know. Like she said, Willie Meat Projects. It's like she said, it's a low income project, housing authority. I guess back then it was for the military. I guess, right, G-Lew, for World War II, and it became, you know, projects for low income people. So you know, at that time, you know, growing up, I guess they started receiving people that were like low income. You know, based on the community laws, it's sad to say that, you know, I mean, the Latino or the Chicano culture, blacks were subsidized to living into these projects, and that's why I guess they call them projects and stuff like that. But go ahead.
I had a quick question, Monica, before you continue.
Okay.
As a kid, like, what did you guys do for fun? Like, did you guys go outside, like outside of the projects? Like, you were right by downtown. Did you go downtown? Like, what did you guys do
We went,
outside of the project?
O'Bara Street. I don't know if you guys remember the street scene.
Yeah.
We used to have downtown LA street scene. Everybody was out. Chinatown. We used to cross the Black Bridge, which is not there anymore. Maybe a lot of you are familiar with the Black Bridge, because where we lived, there was a bridge that went from where we lived to Chinatown. So we didn't have to walk all the way around, because mind you, none of us had cars. You know, we walked, we caught the bus, you know, we rode bikes, you know, we walked to Placito Vera when they had, like, you know, all the festivals. Cinco de Mayo, you had like a gang of kids walking, you know, we would all get together and you just walking, joking, bagging, you know, just laughing, just hanging out together. So, you know, that's where we went. We went downtown, you know, my mom and them, that was like the closest, that's where we would get our stuff, you know, put things on layaway. You know, that's how we got ourselves. We couldn't pay, you know, we didn't have the money to pay right then and there. So we had to like start a year ahead before Christmas, you know. So my mom would pay every time she get her welfare check. She'd go pay. And then, you know, Christmas came and we had all our stuff. We would go. It was so exciting. You know, we did a lot of fun stuff. We used to catch the bus and go to Venice Beach with our boogie boards on the bus. We played marbles. We climbed trees. We jumped on roofs. You know,
I remember the good old marbles, man. I was good at marbles.
We played,
Marbles,
you know, hide and
yeah.
go seek. We played tag. I mean, we played football in the back. There was a lot of baseball going on because they had like a back in the back. They had like a park. They had a lot of recreational stuff because, you know, for low income families, they always have like people who come and support. You know, they bring clothes and food, and they have a lot of like people who come and want to be a part of the community or want to be a help to people. They come and we would get in line.
Right. There was a lot. Excuse me. There was a lot of actors that do contribute stuff like that to the community, right?
Yeah,
they donate.
There, so we got to do one of my friend's house. They did Kid and Play in her house.
That's what I said. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about it's a lot of stuff that's filmed in those projects
Yeah.
to this day.
Yeah.
A lot of movies were filmed there, like House Party was famous. But
House
so
Party,
you remember that?
It was being filmed. I was little. I think I was like 10, and I would be
Wow.
we see Kid and Play with his hair all high up here. We're like, oh, there's the movie star. So that was like a big exciting thing for us because, you know, we never had Hollywood. I mean, that was like far fetched from.
It's the projects. Ain't nothing happening. The projects.
Nah, but a lot of stuff was filmed. Like a lot of movies, I don't know, for some reason they always film right there in those projects.
Yeah,
maybe because
they
it's close to
filmed a lot of
downtown.
hot movies.
I don't know.
We would see like all the cameras, and then we're like, all the kids would just be looking, you know, like what's going on here? You know, there was always something exciting going on there. So for me, it was like, it was never boring, you know, it was never boring. My brother child, you know, he always made mini bikes. You know, we roll around in the little mini bike.
Still does.
That's why he does it to this day. Shout out to my homeboy Child.
I was on one.
Shout out to my brother-in-law Child.
I love you, bro. I love you if you're watching.
What up, homie? Hey, I got one more question. I want to let you when like you're 9, 10, like you're familiar. I mean, you're familiar obviously with where you live in the projects, like you said, Dogtown, controlling the area. But when did you, at what age were you really aware of, like you said, outside of being a kid, but like it's really a gang neighborhood and all of this going on here that you were really aware of?
Was when I would start going to like my friend's house and stuff, and I started because I didn't know drugs, or like, to me, my mom didn't do drugs. Like, I wasn't raised, like, maybe I didn't have a lot of money or whatever, but I wasn't raised, you know, she drank. I see, you know, she's not perfect, but I mean, I don't like to compare, but I started to compare at that age because I would go to my other friend's house, and they would have candles in their house, and I would say, how come you don't have lights? You know, and they would say, oh, my mom buys drugs, you know, and I'm like, and it would break my heart, you know. I was still innocent at that time, you know. I was still like innocent, and, you know, I didn't know too much about the drug abuse and the domestic violence, and I haven't really even tasted any of that, you know. I did growing up, I did have violation in my home, you know, molestation, stuff like that. So that was what was going on at the time. But that's why I was always outside, you know. I always went, because that was like my escape. I would play with the kids and, you know, and stuff like that. But it, you know,
it's can I elaborate on that a little bit? It's funny how you say that, you know, because we never really know what's really going on inside the homes unless you really know what's going inside the homes. And a lot of places, you know, a lot of things that occur like that usually happen inside the household. So, you know, like I said, me being your husband and growing up, and you know, we talked about a lot of stuff. You know, we just want to make sure and let people know if, you know, if there's situations that are occurring in your house, and or if you know somebody, make sure you address it, and, you know, make sure you tell somebody or a family member, and even at sometimes, you know, they may not believe you, but keep pressing the narrative, you know, because everything, it's a cause and effect situation. You know, a lot of times people, they grow up and they say, oh, you know, well, I got this violated when I was young. And a lot of people don't believe it at a certain time. But, you know, we just want to encourage, if anybody's occurring the situation or somebody's telling you guys, please listen to the children, man, because they're trying to address the situation.
You know, and I want to just elaborate on that. You know, my mom, she did her best. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, you know, this is not to degrade her in any way. You know, I love my mom. We have the best relationship, you know, but, you know, it started from there. You know, and then I think it was about like 9, 10, 11. And then I started, you know, because of those things that were happening to me, I started to become like promiscuous, you know, like I started looking for love, you know, I'm like, oh, okay. So now my value was taken from me, my innocence. So I'm just like, okay, you know, so I just started like looking, you know, for other ways to find value, you know what I'm saying? Because it was hard at the time. And so I used to run away, you know, and reality was I never really ran away. I used to just pretend because my mom was so lenient, you know, because she never really disciplined me at all. You know, that was her way of like showing me love because of she felt like there was lack, you know, in her part. So she felt like, well, if she let me just do whatever I want, then she can make up for me not having a dad, and you know, and
Would you say that she didn't want to deal with it?
pretty much. I mean, I think now that I'm older, I realize now she didn't know how to deal with it really. You know, she was in denial, you know. She was in denial. She had her own pain, you know, that she was dealing with. And she was still trying to find herself, you know. She had kids, she's alone, you know what I mean? And I can understand that, you know. And so, but you know,
What was your if I could ask, what was your relationship like with your brother at this time, being that you're the oldest? Did you feel
well,
you had to protect him, or
me and my brother, we fought a lot.
okay?
We fought a lot. We loved each other. But see, that's the thing. We loved each other. Like, we'll die for each other, even till this day, you know, like we'll die for each other.
Okay.
It's all right. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, man. This is deep. I just want to like let her talk. I don't want to even cut her off, but I know it's touching, you know, and everything. I just hope everyone enjoys her story. If you have any questions, anyone, you know, I guess you could ask
My
in the
brother,
comments, and if she wants to answer, she'll answer them. Go ahead.
think my brother dealt more. It affected him more because my dad was there, you know.
Yeah.
But
That's why I asked you, did that make you guys closer, or you know what I mean?
we used to just fight, but that was the way we got along, you know, like
Right.
that was the way we got along. That was the way we showed we loved each other. I mean, literally, like, because like I would just like steal his stuff, take his stuff, you know, like we were just ruthless, you know, in a good
Right.
way. It wasn't like we had animosity or hate or anything. It was just like there were things that I would do. Like I remember one time I sat on him and I made him eat grass. Like I was just very aggressive, you
Right.
know, like
Kids though. Right.
aggressive, you know, because I hung around with boys, you know, that's all I hung around with was pure men and boys my whole life. I didn't mess with women because there was too many, they were just drama, you know, like, so I didn't like that, you know.
You know, going back, it's funny how you say that, because a lot of girls, they have the same, you know what I mean, the perspective of that. I see a lot of girls that hang around with men more, you know, so I don't know what it is. It's crazy.
But you know, so we have a very good relationship. We would, you know, we would eat cereal together. Like you guys were saying the last time, my husband was talking about eating watching cartoons, you know. And one thing about my brother that I love so much is that he's just adventurous. Like he loves animals, he loves snakes and lizards, and he would bring all these animals home, you know, and I'd be like, where are you gonna put that? Like you
He's
found
like
that
a
out.
big kid. Yeah.
Like,
To this day, he's so like, yeah,
and he had
full of
like all
fun and
these
joy.
animals. So he used to teach me to like because we didn't have a lot of toys and stuff, right? So like to play with. So he taught me how to like catch a bird with a string and use it as a kite. Like those are the kind of games we used to play. He put a little string, you know, and he put it right there. And so the pigeons, because we had a lot of damn pigeons, you know, excuse my language, but you know what I mean? The pigeons. And then he's all, let's catch it. And we would sit there, we put the food and, you know, and then we would pull the string and then we'd fly the pigeon. And, you know, we did crazy stuff, you know, but to us, it was, we found anything to do to have fun. And But you know, we had each other, and I think that's where the rubber met the road. Like we knew we had, if we didn't have our dad, you know, we had our mom, but we had each other, and we took care of each other. We looked out for each other. Like my brother never wanted me to do like criminal like crimes and stuff. He would always say, "You're my sister, stay here," and I'm like, "No, I want to go with you." And he's like,
But you were the oldest, and he was younger than you.
big sister, you're gonna listen to me. He's like, "No, you stay here," and I'm like, because I would follow him because he was always up to something with his homies or whatever, you know, and I'll be like, "Mike, I want to go. I want to go." He's like, because I was a daring kid, you know, like I was the one they would say no one would do it, but I would be the one to do it. You know what I mean? I was that kid, you know, like I'll do it, you know.
I got a question. So you said that, you know, your brother was in the neighborhood. I mean, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, the reason why, and I feel like it's kind of my fault, but I don't have guilt or shame over it. You know, I'm a healed individual. I'm whole. You know, I still have some hurts. God's healing, you know, he's still healing me little by little. It takes time. You know, I had a lot of trauma. I have a lot of hurt and things that happened to me, and you know, in my life, and you know, a lot of it because of choices that I've made, and a lot of it because it was just the environment I grew up in, you know. So there's choices that I didn't have a choice. I just was born into it, you know. So, but one thing, you know, that about I'm sorry, babe, what was the question again? I forgot.
About your brother. How did your brother, you say your brother was in a neighborhood. Like you say you're responsible, like what kind of?
I was young. Well, because so let's start back at the 10-year-old and all that stuff had happened to me. So I started going outside. I was playing playing outside, whatever. 10, 11, 12, you know, 12, like I said, I started getting promiscuous, you know, I was like looking for boys, and, you know, I'm like, hey, where's the cute guys, you know, whatever. And I'm little, you know, like, but I didn't care. Nobody was going to tell me I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? So I was just out there, and then I was about 12, I think. And then I met up with my first baby's dad, you know, I was fascinated by him, you know. I was fascinated by his what is it called?
Look at her. She looks fascinated already still. She's reminiscing. Look at her. Look at her.
I ain't in it.
G-Lew.
I ain't in that.
You know what I'm saying? Look at her.
I'm not in it, dog. I ain't in that.
Hey, G-Lew. Hit that. Hey, G-Lew. Real talk. Let's talk about it. G-Lew, hit that horn button. Hit that horn button.
I already talked to you about this. I was fascinated with him because he had a reputation. You know, he had a big reputation. But I was a little kid. He's 5 years older than me, you know. So, but I was always following him, you know, like, and I said to myself, like, he's gonna be mine, you know what I mean? Like, I had that determination. But he was way older than me, you know. He was way older than me, and I was like, he's never gonna look at me. I'm this little nappy head kid, you know. I was like, you know. And you know, growing up being Latina, because you know I'm Puerto Rican, you know, I have some Puerto Rican blood in me, so you know,
Mexican.
Mexican and Puerto Rican, so my dad's Puerto Rican, so I
always used to think that about y'all. I was like, he looks like he got. I never asked him, right? But I was like, he looked like he got something else in him. Seriously. Wow, I never knew that. Thanks for clearing that up.
Newsflash.
Wow.
So we're Puerto Rican, you know, so I was like, you know, and it was just because he was so liked by everybody. He was so respected. He had like clout, you know, like, and I was like, ooh, I want that, you know, because it's pride, you know. I was like, I want that. I want to be a part of that. I want to know, you know. So to make a long story short, everywhere he was, that's where I was. You know, I just followed him, and it was like wherever he was, that's where I went. And eventually I caught his attention. He wasn't even looking for it. I was being the aggressor, you know, but kind of like on the sly. And then it just happened, you know, and then it was and I was 13, you know, he was 18. Wow. But the thing about that was his fault.
Wow. Back in the day, though, it was different, though. But like now, if you looked at it like that, that would be like, hold up a minute, right? So, but back in the day, it was like that.
I lied.
I
lied.
Mm-hmm.
I told him I was like 17 because of the way that my, you know, growing up being the figure that I had at that young age because of my Latina up, you know, and I was already grown, like at 9, 10, I was grown already. you know.
Well, they say women mature faster than men.
Mature
So
faster, yeah.
So,
But-
you know, and it was too late because like he was like the first person I've ever known, you know, and so
And you mature faster if you're outside, like, you know, in the
yeah,
in the streets already. You know what I mean? You mature fast.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I was like, you know, and then you know, it happened, and but I became a teen mom, you know, like I had my son. I was pregnant at 13, you know, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just falling. I was in love, you know, and then so what was happening to me in my home, I felt like I needed someone to protect me. You know, I felt like okay, he could protect me because he knows how to fight. You know what I mean? He beat up everybody, you know. So I was like, "Ooh, I need to get up under him because at least I know that I'll be protected." You know what I'm saying? At least I know that he's gonna take care of me. You know, like I kind of looked at him like a father figure, to tell you the truth.
yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So you saw him as a man that you were trying to see somebody like a safe haven, and so
Like,
you
oh,
went over
Well,
there.
what'd your family think? What'd your mom think about this though?
my mom loved him. My
Okay.
mom, she loved, you know, she loved him, and because I loved him, and she saw that I was happy, you know, and so
So
she's
it
like,
was so your mom allowed it.
yeah, she allowed it. She allowed it. Okay, so let me just revert just really quick. So whatever was happening in my home, I told my mom. She threw the guy out, and then he was no longer a part of the picture. So now it's just me, my brother, and my mom. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so and then he came along. My babysat came along, and then he used to come to our house. He used to kick his feet on the couch. My mom
I'll
used
be
to
right
feed
back, bro.
him. And then it would be like, you know what I'm saying? It would be that was part of the plan. And from there, that's when I became a teen mom, you know, and then life it just escalated at that point. I think about like when I was about like 16, 17, we were together like only 3 years. And then he ended up moving on, you know, and I ended up with my son. I had a son, and he moved on, you know, and then
Right.
from that
So
point,
from that point on, what happened?
you know,
Yeah. From that point on, what were you guys still living in the projects, or what happened after that?
yeah, we stood together. I ended up moving in with him and his mom, and we had the baby, and I lived with him, and life was good, you know, life was good. And then, you know, and then all the other stuff that goes with it came with it, you know, the cheating and all the other stuff. So, you know, I was young. I didn't care. I was like, I don't care as long as you're with me, you know, like as long as you stay with me. I didn't care, you know.
So the relationship in the later years started being a little bit unhealthy.
Yeah, it was very unhealthy relationship. You know, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, you know, because we all have a past, but you know, I want to respect, you
I guess
know,
that means Aquarius, not Aquarian. I don't know. I'm guessing, right?
She's an aquarium. She's a big fish.
Right. Hey, I guess he meant Aquarius though. Are you an Aquarius,
So,
Monica?
well, yeah, I don't believe in those things, but yeah,
Oh,
if
okay.
for my birthday, yeah, that's what I would fall under.
Okay.
But
Got into the so what is that called? The
Astrology.
Astrology and all that.
Astrology.
Yeah.
so, but you know, and then you know, then the
What's up,
the
Nate?
heartbroken came in, and then you know what I'm saying, and then you know he moved away.
But hold on.
Uh-huh.
Hold on, Monica. What effect? Because he asked you earlier about your brother, and I asked you a little bit too. What effect? Obviously, he had on your brother at this time
Oh,
to
I
to
forgot.
affect your brother to get into the neighbor, like all of that. What effects did that have on that whole situation and mainly your little brother too?
Thanks, G-Lew, for bringing me back in, but
Okay.
thank you. I need that. So, yeah, well, so my brother started getting fascinated by him as well. He started taking my brother with him, hanging out with him, so the gang situation was, Brick City was a clique from Dogtown. My baby's dad wanted to make it his own gang. They didn't want to break off. So it became like this big old fight. I mean, it was such a fight that people's houses were getting shot up. We were getting shot up. My brother was shooting people. My brother was out there Well, he already served his time.
it's done. Yeah.
So, but you know what I mean? He just got, one day he came and he said he was from my baby's dad's neighborhood, and I was like, what? Like, and so I kind of had words with him, like, what are you doing? That's my little brother, you know what I mean? Like, because personally, like, I never was from a gang.
Right.
I was a one-man gang. Like, I didn't
So
have
you never got sucked into all that, or
no,
it never infatuated that you wanted to be a part of it or nothing.
My thing is more like respect. I've been around gang members my whole life. I grew up with them. I adopted their the
lifestyle.
You know, I've adopted the lifestyle. I never was from nowhere. You know, I never, honestly, to be honest with you and transparent, I never really, for me, I thought, you know, I didn't know family. So I didn't have that, you know what I'm saying? That brotherhood or sisterhood, or, you know how you guys, when you're from a gang, I know now because of my husband, my brother, and my baby's dad, like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. So me, I never really, I had my mom. So my mom was my world. You know what I mean? My mom, as long as I had my mom, I didn't need anybody. Like, that's just how I was, you know? And so to me, I saw too much violence, you know? I saw too many killings. A lot of my friends got killed, you know, from Brick City, you know, a lot of people got killed, and I didn't like that. I was like, and then I said to myself, and then I said, you know what? If I did get from a gang, I probably wouldn't live long, because I was really crazy, you know? Right. I was like, I'll die next week, you know, because I was just that down. Like, I was just like, I would fight. I didn't care. Like, you know, I didn't let down. So I kind of felt like, man, I probably ain't going to live long if I get from a gang. Because then if I do, then I have to, you know what I'm saying? I have to.
Right. Yeah, right. A whole nother level. Hey, Monica, let me ask you this. What's up, Faith? How about school? Like, how were you in school? Were you going to school, and especially high school? How was that for you? Going, especially you didn't have, like you said, many friends, but you know how high school is. You're from the projects. I know it was cliques and different things going on at your school. How was that?
What's up? You know, they had the big yellow bus, and we rode it. You know, I got on the bus. I went to Lincoln. I didn't graduate at the time. I don't even remember what happened. I think I just dropped out. You know, like
right.
There was really, I had no goals. You know, I had no goals. My goal was just to my goal in life was to just feel good for the moment. Whatever made me feel good, that's what I did. You know, whatever was fun, whatever was adventurous, whatever was interesting, whatever was, you know, be out at night, you know, everybody partying and drinking, you know. And then I started doing my thing too. You know, at a young age, I was drinking.
Okay, I got a question. So when you say that, you know, like you just wanted to party, you started, I'm pretty sure you were hitting your teenage years. What kind of things were you seeing inside the projects? Were things happening in the projects? Like, was there gangs? Was there, like you said, was there parties? Or was there a lot of, what was happening in the projects?
Yeah. What was that project life like for the people who are intrigued by, you know, it's some people that are intrigued about people who come from the projects. What was the project life like for the people?
We you know, there was a lot of like fights. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember the years of like when they used to pop block and everybody used to wear their use the radio, you know, and everybody beatbox, everybody in the project had a radio, you know, boom, 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 everybody's walking, they did the pop blocking, you know, the girls did the freaking, and it was a lot going. I mean, it was crazy. Like every corner it was a party. Like it was a party every day. You got homies over here in the corner, deep in the back, you know. They were just coming out of the woodworks. I mean, there was homies everywhere.
So the projects were just, it was residents only, right? Any people visiting or outcomers would come into those projects. It was not a good thing to go in, right?
Better not come in there. You're gonna get shot up, beat up. You're gonna get robbed, jacked, take your car, your money. You're gonna just leave with your boxers.
And this is at William Meade Projects.
William Meade, baby. Hey,
it got really violent, you know. There was a lot of shootings. There was a lot of, you know, you could hear the cops. Even the cops were scared to go in there. They would only go so far. Like they would chase the people in like woo, and they come so fast, and then they would go, and then they wouldn't go all the way. They would just like if they didn't catch them before they got in the projects, the cops would turn around and go back out. They were like really,
they didn't want no parts of that. Huh?
They didn't want no part. And then especially if you go way to the back, because the back there's a dead end, and that's where everybody hung out. And if you go back there, let's just say a random car just drives to the back, and you got all the homies right there, and they're gonna surround your whole car.
You ever been back there, G-Lew?
Yeah. Well, we didn't really hang over there. We hung in the park, not in really hanging in projects like that. Did you Monica, did you know my homeboy Lowdown?
Yeah, I know Lowdown.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Lowdown. I know Ma. I know all the originals. Lowdown, Scooter, Bugsy, Woody, Mono. I know Ma.
Rest in peace.
Mono. Mono was my friend. You know what I'm saying? Speedy. Who else? Bayface, Snoopy, what's his name? So many people. Everybody who lived in the projects, I knew them because they hung around. They hung around with Brooks. So Brooks was the main one. Right.
How about his brother Rascal? He was here. That fool was crazy. Hey, he was living here for a minute, but he moved. Yeah,
I know his baby.
He's a fool still.
I know, and Smiley, Mike, I'm still in contact with them. You know what I'm saying? I still have Rascal on on social media. I have,
You do? I'm gonna check your social media. I didn't know you had Rascal on there. Man, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
You know what? We're gonna come back to the next episode. We'll continue next Monday. We're gonna continue next Monday. Come here, hey, yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Jesus, you get a whole lot of that, man. You know what I mean? Hey, you know what? Thank you, G-Lew, for having the show because I learned a little bit more than I expected today. You know what I'm saying? So, shoot, man.
Wow.
But anyway, so we.
Johnny, what's it called?
She said what projects? William Mead projects. And right by down. I guess it's considered LA. Lincoln Heights, but it's like in between downtown, Chinatown, Lincoln Heights.
Yeah.
I don't know. LA. It's the city of LA.
By the towers, the men's county jail.
Yeah, right by the county jail.
I think it's one of the oldest kind of projects that still exists right now.
Yeah,
all the way back. Shout out to
only what's left is the Hazard projects. That's it, right? What else?
Yeah, they're pretty original. Yeah. Hey, shout out to CYA because that's Dopey. He's from Dogtown right there, and appreciate you coming on, man. Right there, Downtown Projects, CYA Entertainment.
Yeah, so my family was from Dogtown. My uncle, he was the main guy from Dogtown. He got killed by white fans. My mom, called her little puppet, whatever, So
how did you feel when that split? How did you feel about that? How did that affect you? Because you knew everyone, when the split came, and then your baby dad, your brother. How did you?
Yeah, that's a good question. That is a great question because I had to choose sides.
Right.
I wasn't from a gang, but I had to choose sides. Because my baby's dad was from Brick City. Everybody the people I knew like Scooter and, G-Bone, Lowdown, all the people, my brothers, so I'm like, oh my God, like these people are my friends, but this is my family. You know what I'm saying? So
you got two brothers from Brick City.
Yeah, Grumpy and Child. But it got really ugly because now they started attacking me. They started chasing me. They put a gun to my head in front of my mom and my grandma.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? They just were because so the situation with that is that so when they started going to war, when Brooks said, no, I'm not gonna be a part of yours, I'm gonna make my own, and then that's when the war just started, and then the last of what I know is that he had a fight with one of the main guys, and it was like the whole projects came up for that one. It was like everybody. I mean, it was, and I'm in the front, all scared, like what's going on? And it happened, and
that was it. The song
settled, but at the same time, the people who were from that neighborhood, Brick City, still were residents in the complexes. And so when the split happened, and then now it was war on territory. So since Dogtown has been there already, and they're just someone trying to come in, they started really handling their business to get everybody out.
Right.
And it's too close for comfort because I mean my house got shot up, you know what I'm saying? Like and it's just part of the lifestyle, you know.
And then that's really hard when you're that close, like you said, literally neighbor next door to door is too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It was very dangerous for you guys too, right? To shut up your house.
Definitely outnumbered, and it's just too much.
To up me all the time, like because I was affiliated with my brother and everybody else, and they're like, "Oh, let's get her." I mean, there's times I never saw my mom get like that in her whole life until one time I was in the front of my house and the girls were like, "Hey, what's up?" and this and that. And I'm like, "Well, what's up?" And then my mom comes out, she goes, what the? She started getting all crazy. I was like, "Oh my God, lady, go back inside, mom." You know what I mean? I got this. And she's like,
Puppy, little puppy. Shout out to Puppy.
Just like, I mean, I couldn't even walk to the liquor store without someone trying to jump me. You know, or someone tried to beat me up or someone, and they jumped my friend, my best friend. They thought she was me and they put her in the hospital. Yeah, they jumped her. And I never knew until 10 years later, she told me, she goes, they thought they mistaken me for you and they beat me up so bad and I ended up in the hospital. And I didn't know that. And until 10 years later, I found her again on social media and she told me that happened to her. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, they thought, girls from Dogtown thought I was you. And they beat me up and they put me in the hospital. And I was like, wow. Like, and it got really ugly. So at that point, we had to leave, you know, me and my brother. So they allowed us, everybody was gone. Like, you know, it got so bad that all the moms from you know, all the moms, they moved. Everybody was moving one by one. That person's gone, that person's gone, that person's gone. So they ran everybody out, and we were the only ones left, me and my brother. But since we had affiliation with them because of my uncle, they couldn't touch our home.
Right.
But on one stipulation, one condition, that my brother would not tag in their neighborhood
or wear his jersey.
But I mean, if you know my brother didn't care. All you see on every block was a big BCD, and I'm like, oh my God! I would tell Mike, why are you doing that? He's like, oh, this is my neighborhood, and then we had to leave. My mom got scared. They shot up her house. My brother, you know, we went to war with them, and then we left. It just got too much, you know, like it just got too crazy. So I ended up in the valley, Sun Valley. That's where all the drugs.
How old are you? Whoa, I got Dogtown right here, dog.
Sorry.
Dogtown, like literally.
So, you know, and you know, I don't really like to glorify, you know, all that stuff. That's just a part of my upbringing and the things that I have to do. You know, it's a lot of.
Yeah, he said this is Dogtown, fool, for real. On this is Dogtown. Battle.
Well, you know, and I want to this. Sorry, guys.
All right.
But you know, so we left from there, and
don't yell at the dog.
My mom left, and you know, we never saw that place again.
So that was it. She never looked back. Was no one else?
No one else was there. It was just we were gone, you know, and you know, and I never did want to go back because I still don't go back to this day. And you know, I have people from there trying to request me. I'm like,
So there's a lot of people still there that you know though that still live there.
Yeah. I have people on Facebook that still live there to this day.
Right.
You know, and so you know, and so I just grew up that way, and you know, I think at one point what happened when I you know, when my life started to really progress is when, you know, I had my son. You know, I had my son, and my mom, I was living with my mom when I had my son, and I just, as a single mom, you know, I was a single mom. I was 14. I mean, what do I know about being a mom? I didn't know how to be a mom. I thank God for my mom because, and then, you know, so then from the heartbreak and all the drama and the trauma and the trials and everything, somebody introduced me to a hardcore drug. And when I did that drug, it took all the pain away. And I was off and running. You know, I've done other things, you know, in my past, like, you know, here and there, I do different things. But this one drug, when I did that one drug, it took away the pain. And so and it, you know, and addiction is progressive. You know, you don't just get addicted overnight. You it takes time. You know, it's like one weekend, then another weekend, then you start stealing, then you start, you know. So when I ended up in the valley, what caused me to set me off to go on a journey of a, I mean, I went on this journey that I wouldn't even want my worst enemy to go on, you know. And so I ended up, my son, I came home one day and my son was gone. And I think
Before you, I'm sorry. Before you go any further, can you tell what kind of drug choice was that, or
She said she didn't want to say. She just said that
Oh,
one,
okay.
you know. So
Oh, okay.
it's okay.
Okay.
You don't have to be specific. Everyone has been on some type of drugs at one time, so every drug affects different people differently. So
Right.
I don't even
Right.
think
I
it
didn't hear that.
matters. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Monica.
you know, I just, I guess, because I was like, from all the stuff that I just shared with you, at this point, I was already like, I mean, I was like, wow, like what kind of life am I living, you know? And so I came home. I was gone for about a week because I started doing the drug, you know, and then I started disappearing. You know, you do those disappearing, no one finds you for a month, you know, you're like in your own world, you know.
Right.
So, anyways,
Penny.
to live for now because I mean, at least I have my son, you know. But then when I came home one day, my mom gave my son to my baby's dad and his mom. And they were gone because remember I told you everybody was moving out, everybody was going their own direction, and I guess they came and they said, you know, Monica, she's young, you know what I'm saying, and we don't think that, especially being in the environment, you know, it'd be better that if we take him, we can raise him better, you know, and stuff like that. My mom was a single mom. I was a single mom. We were still on welfare. We were still living in the projects. We had a lot of stuff going on.
Did your baby's father ever try to help you, or were you guys just too apart at this time? Where it was like there was no, like what was the, you know, what was the status of that at this time?
Good.
Okay.
Not good. Not good.
Was
Not
some
good.
of that, were you in at some time at this time you started doing drugs or whatever? Were you in depression or were you blaming it? Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, a lot of domestic.
All right.
violence. So, and you know, and so, you know, no shame on him. You know, they're just cycles. You know, when people
The
experience
homie's kind of
that,
crazy though. Shout out to my big homie. He's kind of crazy though. Seriously.
he
But
knows
go ahead.
what's up. You know, I don't mean to put him out there, but you know,
Nah, go
the
ahead.
truth will set you free. You know, the truth
Right,
will
right.
set you free. And I mean, even after 10 years of not being in his life, we got back together. We were trying to get things right, you know. But at that point, he still was not ready. So, and his mom told me, Monica, he hasn't changed. And I did try again, you know, I did, to be a family and the truth.
How does your son take all this time? I'm sorry. I didn't really ask about him. I didn't.
He told me too. He said, Mom, you know, Dad. And he was 13. And that was the second time I had to leave him. First time was when he went to live with them. And I still try to go back. Like, you know, I still try. I'm a fighter. Like, I fight for my kids, you know. I fight for my kids. I don't care. You know, I'm not, you know, I don't have any shame. You know, I don't have any shame because I know that my drug addiction put me down a path that I had no control. And I remember because one of the social workers told me, you know, because I have my kids, you know, I have a daughter, she wasn't in my care. Like, my story's so long. Like, if I were to go in detail, it would take like a week, you know. But I'm just jumping around.
You know,
Maybe write a little bit
a little bit.
a book coming. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. So as you can say, can you elaborate a little bit more? So, like how you said you were in San Fernando Valley. What took place over there?
Oh my God, that's when I started getting arrested. You know, and I oh man, I got a 15-page rap sheet, you know, and
Wow.
I'm just like,
All right. I think that's it. We're done now.
Hey, D, you're the one digging up. You're asking these questions, D. Don't be bad when she wants to answer, bro.
Oh, I didn't know she was gonna say 15. I didn't know she was gonna say 15 pages, bro.
Hey, it's real. Let's talk
Let's
about
talk
it. It's
about it.
real
Let's talk
talk. It's
about
real
it.
talk.
Let's
It's real
talk
talk.
about
let
it.
me tell you one thing. I'm not ashamed of my story. I need to
Right.
speak this out because I have a
Right.
voice.
That's
You
the
know what I'm saying? I have a voice, and I know there's
therapy.
a lot of people out there. I mean, I probably have people on here from my church. I have people on here from my job, from my work. This
It's
is
a
the first
testimony.
time I've ever really just said anything about my life because I'm very, very private in a sense. You know what I'm saying? There's only certain people that God would allow me to share my story with, you know, and I'm not afraid of judgment. I'm not afraid of, you know, I'm not afraid of none of that. I face too many giants in my life for me to even care of the opinions of men. You know what I'm saying? But what I want to say is, you know, and I haven't mentioned it yet, but I'm just trying to like give you guys an idea what I've come out of, what I come from. I've dealt with trauma. I've dealt with rape. I've dealt with molestation. I've dealt with domestic violence. I dealt with so many things, drug addiction and homelessness and schizophrenia and bipolar and mental illness. And I mean, I've come a long way.
It
What was a
sounds,
little bit?
it sounds to me
So if
like
you're,
you can help. I don't know what you do or whatnot. I don't, maybe you already do,
Yeah,
but
I'm
it
in
sounds to me
school
like you.
right now, so
Okay, no, but okay. But it sounds like me. You can help a lot of young ladies out there. You know what I mean? That come up the way you did, going through. It's a lot of, you know what I mean, young ladies out there going through a lot right now. It's a lot these days are
that's
10
why
times worse, sex
that's why
trafficking and all this craziness.
I'm here because you know I'm giving back for you know the main character in this whole situation. I would not be here if it wasn't for God.
Amen. Amen.
And my heart is grateful because I should be dead, you know, and I did this today. It wasn't easy for me, you know, because I dealt with PTSD. I dealt with, you know, being in solitary confinement and, you know, that's tough. That's tough. Not only, I mean,
We haven't even
for
got
him,
into that part yet.
yeah, exactly.
Ooh, wow. We haven't even got to that part yet. Jesus.
these are
Ooh.
the things that these are I say the things that has affected me the most. You know, I think that's where I go to, like the place that has really affected me in my life, you know, and but I need to keep it raw because I want people to understand that it doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter where you come from, you know, and I'm only saying this because my heart is for everyone who's struggling, you know, and I pray and I cry for the homeless and I cry for the people who are losing their mind and they're on drugs. You know, this is my calling in my life. You know, God has redeemed my life. He has literally picked me up. I wasn't just in hell, I was under hell, you know, and so I cry for joy. I'm not crying because I'm sad. I'm not crying because I have sorrow. I'm not crying because, you know, oh, I had such a rough life. I'm sure there's someone out there that's probably dealt with way more than me, you know, and my life now is just humility, you know, and humbleness. And I'm, you know, I want to be there for those that are struggling because I want to be hope. I want to be an encouragement. I want to lift them up. I want to tell them it's okay if you need someone to walk with you, I'll walk with you. You know, I'll hold your hand or I'll do whatever it takes. You know, but I don't
I
want to.
think that happens. We could relate to people because you like you say you see the people struggling. So we build a relationship because we know it's not just us that's been through that. There's other people that have been through that scenario too. So we want to be a vessel, you know, to let them know, hey, we can make this through. We can't, you know, occur and go through this journey together. You're not the only one that's going through it. And you know, I appreciate you. Every time I hear it, it does something to me. But can we go back to a little bit to the San Fernando Valley and let us know what happened there?
D said, let's talk about it. Let's talk
Yeah, let's
about
talk
it, man.
about it, man.
I gotta know what's
Because,
going. Let's talk about
hey,
this one right here.
I don't hear
Let's
too
talk
much. I
about
don't
it.
hear. Hey, this is helping me. I don't hear too much of it.
Right.
I don't hear
Let's
too
talk
much of
about
it.
this.
Let
Let's
me
talk
just
about
say
this
this.
now.
Okay? Let me say this. The reason why I have to be reverted back, you know what I'm saying? Because I never talked about anything in my life. I kept everything to myself, and I don't know how to communicate. So this is all new to me, you know. Like, so
Yeah, you guys got to understand. Like, you know, it's hard for her to open up, and we kept that. As long as I've been with her for 16, 17 years, we never. It's like opening up a can of worms, right? And I never really want to deal with like stuff that, like, you know, she was not comfortable with, because, you know, I started recognizing her violations and we talked about it. So like when she gets comfortable talking about this, I'm interested, you know, and it's like, okay, you know, this is
Let's
not
talk
only
about it.
helping her, but
No.
this is helping me. This is helping me as well, so I can know how to deal with the situations too. You know, I can know her sorrows. You know, trust me, I'm the husband. She got a 15-page rap sheet. I only got like 2.
Big
Right,
G,
right. She got you beat, homie. That's big.
Hey,
That's
come
the
on,
big
Jesus,
homie.
come on,
My
dog.
wife
You
is
know,
the big homie, man. My wife is the big homie. Hey, hold on, I'll be
let's
right
not
back.
talk about it. Let's not
Let's
talk
not
about
talk
it.
about it. I'll be right back. Go ahead. Oh man.
Yeah. So can we go back to the San Fernando Valley?
yeah. So what do you want to know?
Like, so what happened? Oh, you said you left there, then you went to San Fernando. What happened over there? What do you mean by your rap sheet started?
Well, I just started getting
He said,
involved.
let's talk about this now. I'm serious.
I just started slanging drugs, you know, like it was either that or get on a corner. Like I wasn't gonna do that, so I was like, you know, if you and I know some, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?
So you were a drug dealer?
I might not get a job after this. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, man.
Okay, Mr. Primo. Hi, Primo. That your cousin's on here.
I know. Shout out.
So okay. Okay, so sorry everybody if I'm reading your comments and you know I'm just so like into this. I'm thankful everybody, Faith and Nay and everybody out there. I'm not, you know, it's my first time. I don't know how to chew gum and walk. My husband always tells me he has to draw a map for me, but you know, I'm learning. So the Valley, you know, I started using drugs and I started just living the life and living the street life. And, you know, I mean, I've done things prior to getting to this point, like, you know, stealing cars and just doing the you know, like anything went, like, you know, I was just unruly. Like I didn't follow no rules at
Were
all.
you in a gang? Were you in a gang in San Fernando Valley?
No, I wasn't in a gang, but there was always gangs around me. Like I've always witnessed a lot of stuff. I've witnessed like killings, murders, this, that. Like I've been shot at many a times in a car, like driving around. I've been skinned in my leg, like, you know, because I hung around with gang members and you're at the wrong place at the wrong time. You're involved, you know, and so I just hung out there in Pacoima and you know what I mean? It was crazy, you know, you got a lot of like, there's a lot of big, you know, I used to like carry drugs for big time dope dealers. You know what I mean? I used to keister stuff. I mean, sorry about that, but I mean, that's what I did. You know, I used to be the mule, you know, like making money. And I did so many things. Like, it's crazy. So I started getting arrested because over there's a lot of undercover cops. And so I was selling drugs to undercover cops. I got like sales of narcotics. I was jumping fences. I was running from the cops. I was like, they had like undercovers and we had like, I mean, we literally had like underground escapes. And, you know, I just lived in the streets, renting rooms and motels, living outside, living in abandoned buildings. Like I just lived crazy.
Wow. It's crazy.
Friends that I lost from drug addiction who would get high and then they wouldn't make it through the night, you know, like it was just a world of addiction, you know, and it took me many places I didn't want to go, you know, it just did. And
it's crazy how sometimes drugs could be settling, you know, you don't realize how much they're taking over you and then without you even knowing it. And, you know, but it's a habit that people, you know, even myself, you know, I was very I had a habit myself, and you know, I had to keep reverting back to the drug, and I was in denial, and I was thinking like, nah, I'm not this, I'm not a drug addict, I'm not a drug addict, you know. But then again, in reality, I was a drug addict, and I did everything and anything I could to survive and to make sure that I would supply my habits. So, you know, it's funny how you mentioned that.
You know, and I almost lost my life a lot of times. I've almost been killed, I don't know how many times, you know, and out of decisions that I made, you know what I mean? You know, I got violated out there because I was always out late at night, the only girl out there, you know what I'm saying? One guy, I met this guy one time, and and I just, you know, it was like, you know, because a man will always overpower you. I don't care how tough you think you are. You know, a man, and he just, you know, cold-cocked me, and it was over. Like, you know, I've been abused, beat up by men. I fought men. Like, I mean, I used to walk
Wow.
by the Mexicans and be like, she's crazy. She's crazy. And it was because all of that came from the abuse. And I said, I would never let no one abuse me again. And so I just didn't. And
It seems like you were encountering not only physical but mental abuse, sexual abuse. I mean, emotional abuse. I mean, I don't know how much abuse you could take. I don't know how much a person, especially a female abuse, you could take. You know, that's pretty crazy.
So that's why it became really hard. I built so many walls I couldn't even get out. You know, I had no emotions, no more. I didn't have love. I didn't have none of that stuff, you know, till I met my husband.
Hold on a second, Monica.
You're going too fast, girl.
Oh, let's talk about if we can, BD. We didn't talk about the incarceration, how that when that came about, and how yeah, that
your 15-page rap sheet.
So we were in the valley, you know. It all started. I hit every prison, every woman prison out there. I mean, I literally opened Twin Towers. I was the cattle from civil rights.
But how was that? Like, when did obviously you started getting locked up later, and when your drugs and all. How was that for you? That experience first.
Started loitering, you know, having drug paraphernalia. You go in, so it all starts when you start in the county jail. You start getting like 30 days, and then 60 days, and then 90 days, and then 120 days, and then 6 months, and then once you do that county lid, it's prison after that. So I started doing little, you know, drunken in public, and, you know, getting tickets and jaywalking, and not going to not going to my court dates because I'm on drugs. I ain't going to no court date.
Right.
I mean, I literally was in court on trial for a murder. They subpoenaed me, and I'm in the restroom getting high, and I'm on trial with all these cops in the building. And that's how addicted I was. I really believe that I was on a suicide mission, but I just couldn't kill myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wanted to die because I was just going through so much. But anyways, back to the jail, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you know, and once you hit that county lid, then you catch the chain. So it was increments at first, you know, it's like a little bit here. And then I was getting like OR'd, and then I was getting like a slap on the hand. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. You know, I'm just going to go in and out. You know, but literally I wasn't getting arrested. I was getting rescued from myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, I go to jail, I go to prison, I go here, I go there. Next thing you know, they gave me that county lid, right? So I did.
Oh, sorry.
You're doing 365 days. Once you hit that point, then you go to prison.
Go to prison, yeah, after a year.
So, and my first case that I caught was sales of I mean, I literally if you watch Cops, like, that was me. I was always in the paddy wagon, you know what I mean? That'd be like,
right.
You get in the paddy wagon, you should see all the homies. They're like, hey, fool, they got you.
Right.
I don't know, you know, you're just like in the car, and, you know, I was in Pacoima. I mean, I held up a corner. I had a trap house, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I don't want to get too.
Who was you? Okay, but okay, now that you are in the valley now, way far from where you grew up over here in the projects in LA, you're in the valley. Who is your family now? Who are you around? You already said you already have a small family, but you don't really have friends. Like, who are you around, or like to even be in the valley, new surroundings? Who you had to be with someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what happened. so when all that was happening in the projects, we moved to my aunt's house because we had nowhere to go. My mom had to get us out because they were trying to hurt me and my brother.
Right.
And they knew who my baby's dad was. So I was a target, you know? And so we moved to Sun Valley, my Aunt Lorraine, who she had a house out there. And so we lived with her, me and my brother. But see, my Aunt Lorraine was a Christian.
Okay.
And I met God a long time ago. It was a process. I met God at a young age, but I didn't know that he was in my life throughout the whole time. Obviously I'm here, so God rescued me, you know, but I didn't understand until you look back and you see the track record and you can see all the footprints of where God was. You're like, wow, like he was there the whole time.
Yeah. I had the same story. I was telling Big D something like that. Yeah,
so
I got you.
Like, so, you know, the whole time God has never left me. He's been there with me like the whole time, you know. And he's probably the only one who's never left me at every moment of my life, you know. And so he pursued me, he chased me. I mean, I would see signs, God, Jesus loves you. People will come up to me and preach to me, and I'll be like, oh my God, I will put my fist, and because of the love, I needed the love. It was such a pure love. Like no matter what I did, he didn't judge me and he loved me. He was trying to chase me down, and I would get so angry because I would say, I felt like I had to earn it, you know. But anyways, I ended up in prison. I was at Sybil Brand. I've done time in CRC. I've done time in Chachilla. I've done time in CIW. I've done time in Twin Towers. I've done time. You know what I'm
just
saying?
saying like regular. Like, how was this? I mean, how was these experiences for you doing all this prison time? Like you just said that like it was regular. You know
well,
what I mean?
I took it way serious, bro. Like I watched mafia movies.
Right.
I did not play. And the deputies knew me. People knew my name. Like I had a name, you know, like they're like, oh, that Puerto Rican girl, watch out for her. You know, I fought all the time. I mean, I gained my respect, you know, and that's all I wanted was people to respect me, you know. But yeah, so I ended up the crazy part, this one moment, I gotta share this because it's really crazy. So thank you, Polo. That's so nice.
Polo the Cholo.
Thank you.
That's the homie right there.
So you know what I mean? And so I was in Sybil Brand, and the reason why they closed Sybil Brand down was because they had a lot of rats. And so it was like non-functioning now, like there was a lot of rats and, you know, stuff like that and everything. And I want to share this part because this is what helped me do time in prison, was because I met this one girl. Her name was Criminal, and she was from San Pedro, and she was a Samoan girl, right? So she was, when I was with her in Sybil Brown, it's shut down now, it's closed down. They opened up Twin Towers and they put the females in there in a men's prison. And I was in that cattle, all the women.
I think it was co-ed. I think the first tower was men and the second tower was female.
Yeah. But it was built for men. They, you know, they just, because this was closing, they had nowhere to put us. So they just put us in the hardcore place. Because where I was opposed to where they took me, that was jail. Like I was in kitty camp, you know, because in Sybil Brand, they're dorms.
Right.
And you got bunk beds. It's like you're in a camp, you know, it's not jail. Like what in Twin Towers, when you hear those bars close, all the lights, and you're locked up. Like
hey, let me ask you this about being, because you were locked up a lot, especially in the county where it's all LA. Was it like was it like gang politics a lot for the women as well? Like as much, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't as much, but was it like that? Because there was a lot of females locked up from that. Was it any gang politics for females in there like that?
It's just a lot of drama, you know. There is some gang,
right,
but it's not.
But it
like,
wasn't crazy like that, right? Okay.
No, it's not like the men. The main thing about a women's prison is there's a lot of like women relationship going on.
I'm sure that. Right.
It's a lot of.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it.
Oh my God, this is too raw for me. No, I'm just kidding.
Talk about it.
Whatever. So, anyways, like, yeah, we were there, and I met that girl Criminal. That's who, and oh my God. God has got me out of, every time I talk about these things, I just see God's hand in it every single time. Every single time. If it wasn't for the grace of God in my life, I would not be here. I'm telling you, I have to give God honor. I have to give God the glory, because this is, there's no way I'd be here right now at all. And so, so I'm on my bunk, right? Let me just tell you a quick story. So I'm on my bunk and I see this girl and she's pregnant, and 2 girls are jumping her. One's on top of her and one's in the front punching her. The other girl has her by the hair and she's pregnant. And I'm like, I can't let this happen. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, right.
They knew she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they weren't hitting her stomach, but they were hitting her in the face, and they jumped. And she's this big girl. She's a Samoan girl, right? So I jumped. I'm telling you, I was young then, so I could jump off a top bunk, you know. I jumped off the bunk and I was like, and I just grabbed on top of the girl. I grabbed one of the girls, I pulled her off. I was like, hey, what, you know, da 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 da. And I was going with one and she was going with one, and then it was over. And from that point on, we became best friends. And I think that was a strategic part on God's part, because when I got to prison for the first time, I ran with the Samoans, and I was their sister. And you know, you don't mess with, well, you mess with one Samoan, you mess with them all, and they don't play. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think that was like an encounter, because God already knew what was going to happen, and I needed I had, like I told you, all my life it's just been me by myself. I was my own gang. I was a one-man gang. Like, don't mess with me. I don't got no backup. I'm the backup. You know, I'm going to fight whatever I got to do to stay alive, you know? And it was out of survival. So anyways, I ended up there. They shipped us. But I'll tell you, this is a picture that I will never get out of my head, okay? So when they shipped us from Civil Brand to Twin Towers, the whole room was full of women, right? They brought us in this big room, like, and we all had to get stripped. And the side of that was, I still have that pic, and it's not to put people down, but I was like, what? That was like an epiphany for me, you know? Like, I was like, because you look around and you have to stand there with nothing on, and you got different shapes, sizes, tall, thin, skin. You know, you're like, it was a shock. Like,
let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
We all went through it.
You know, it became a moment of like, how did I end up here? Like, what am I doing here? You know, like, because you don't think about those things, you know. And it was a picture, and every time I think about it, I'm like, wow, like, and it was no shame to no one. I'm just saying, like, that was a moment that I could remember, like, what is my life becoming? You know, I'm standing here in front of all these naked women, and because they wanted to dress us with all brand new stuff. They didn't want us to take like whatever was there. So we got new socks, get up, and we were wearing orange. You know, and so we ended up when I hit Twin Towers and they put us in there, it was cold. It was like, okay, so reality starts to set in now, because I'm doing Civil Brand time. This is like 3 months, 6 months. Now I'm getting to the big time. I'm like, hey, this is real jail, you know? I was like, I don't know if I could do this, you know, because see, and let me tell you, I was claustrophobic, man, and I caused a lot of havoc because I couldn't be confined. Just imagine, my whole life, I'm unruly. Then they put me in a box. I felt like a caged animal. And
that's that. You know that. Real quick, I'm sorry, just to let you guys know, it's not. You know, let's talk about. It's not real. Just men that go to prison or county jails. Women as well. So, you know, you ladies got to be careful and just take hype to this story, because you know, laws have no regulations. Trust me, man. You do something wrong, and you will end up in a box. And like she said, and man, jail does something to you. Like G-Lew said, man, you know, I've been there, you know, I haven't been to prison, you know, like some people, but, you know.
Things just so they can take me for a walk. I would get in trouble just so they can get me out of there. I used to press the button in the front. I'm telling you, I was psychotic. Like I'll be like, you gotta let me out. And I'm in jail, okay? And I'm trying to tell these people they need to let me out because I was losing my mind. I had no drugs in my system.
Yeah,
So
how was that affecting you? Like being, was that a good thing? Obviously good in the long run, but during that time, you know what I mean? How was that for you?
Good in the beginning because I was going through withdrawals. I was becoming like psychotic. I was becoming rageful. I fought I was irritated.
You were dealing with stuff in the natural without being high or getting your weight in.
I had no escape. So I had to face my pain, and it was so painful that I just wanted to hurt everybody around me. I was so like, I just want to hurt somebody. That's how I felt all the time, 24/7. They never gave me a bunkie because I always threw them out. I put their bed outside because if they weren't clean or if they weren't living a certain way, if they just didn't shower, like I was very mean, and it wasn't because I was mean because I was a mean person. I was mean because everybody has been mean to me and I became mean. And so I hurt people, hurt others, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, I mean, literally, I was territorial. No one could sit in my seat because I wanted the power. It's a pride, pride. Always remember this. The Bible says pride comes before a fall. I wanted I wanted the clout. I wanted to be number one. I want people to fear me, and you couldn't look at me a certain way. You couldn't, and people will walk by me and walk with their head down because if not, I would just snatch them. I was crazy. I literally here, and I had friends in there that knew me from the streets, and they're like, you don't want to mess with her. And I'm like, and it wasn't that I wanted to be like that because inside I didn't even have emotions anymore. So it wasn't even like I felt remorse. No, I was like, oh, that's your problem,
Where was your son during this time? Your incarceration with his dad?
He's been with his dad. He's still with his dad, Okay. But, no one, I never heard from them. I literally had to look for them, you know what I mean? And
that's crazy because usually men who are busted, we wait for the females to send us letters and all that. It's funny how the opposite side of you would think a female would get a letter from their baby's dad, just like, wow, that's pretty crazy.
Was, my family, mom and stuff, but I ended up there and then I caught the chain of prison. I got into it with the lifer. She was going to kill me. And it was the grace of God. And, I had my sock, I had my lock in the sock. I was ready to take her out and she had nothing to lose, but I wasn't going to stand down, and, the long story, I had many, so I ended up in the valley, started getting arrested there. That's where my arrest started to come. You know what I mean? I had another daughter at 19, after that, whatever. And then, I lost custody of her because of my drug addiction. I have a relationship with her. It could be better. I love her. She's a beautiful woman. The only thing I could do was pray, pray for her.
Right. But these are the choices that affect, what happens with the decisions that we make. And sometimes as young people, we make the wrong decisions, not realizing who we're hurting or who we're going to affect later on in the latter years. And sometimes it's our children that suffer. That's
the problem these days. We're so self-centered. Everybody is just about you. You don't care who you hurt around you. You don't care. You think it's happening to you. Think you're making those choices and you're not affecting anybody. But no, the choices we make affects our children, affects our family, affects everybody, and we're not aware of those things till later on, and so I ended up, getting, sales of narcotics like 3 times. I shouldn't be here right now. I should have they were going to give me 11 years straight. And there was this deputy in the elevator and he told me, he says, and mind you, I never, I did my time. For those of you out there, I never got out. So all those homies that go in and get out in 2 days and that's their problem. You know what I'm saying? I don't do those things. That's the way I was raised. I'm still the same way, you know, but I'm just saying, like, I never got out. Like, everybody, now I'm like, how do you do that? And then he tell me, I'm like, oh, I'm cool on that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not going that route. So, you know, I did my time. I always did my time.
There, you know, I gotta, you know, something that you told me since we've been with each other that tripped me out too in prison. You had what was your fun experiences in there? Because you told me you had fun experience. Can you share with everybody?
Well, yeah, I had a lot of clout. You know, I used to have the deputies take me to the. I had like, you should have saw my room. You know, I had like three. I just,
Yeah, no, but going back to that experience that experience that you were able to help the city, right? You fought fires.
oh yeah, oh my God, I love to fight fires. It was the first thing ever, first
Fire
time
camp.
in my life that I felt like I did something productive. Yeah, I was a Sawyer. I fought fires. You know, I came out in the newspaper. I mean, we were hotliners. It was fire up against fire. You know, I cut trees. I could cut trees down. You know, I'm a tree
How do
fellow.
you get into that program? Excuse me. How do you get into that program?
So you have to be. I was in CIW. I went from Chowchilla, and from Chowchilla they transferred me to CIW. Either you go over the wall to D Yard, or you go to CIW. And so they sent me to CIW. You have to be, you can't be like high risk, or you can't have, you got to be a level, you can't be a level 3. You have to be like a level 1 or a level 2, because there's an escape risk. So I was a level 2. I was, you know, so I wanted to find, the only reason why I wanted to go to fire camp was because they had good food. You know, I was tired of the bologna sandwiches.
Right. Whenever you went to those camps, you're gonna eat good. That's for sure. You just gotta work.
You know what I mean? This and that. And so, hey, and it was better making $1 an hour than 15 cents an hour, you know. So like, so that was my motivation, was to go there, you know. And so, and through all this, and you know, and the crazy thing is that, like, even when I was in CIW, I did time with a lot of like big time like murders and killers and child molesters. Like it was crazy, you know.
And even actors too, or people are like famous people too, huh?
Yeah, like remember the Manson girls, like Charles Manson, that killed Sharon Tate's baby. I worshipped with her, the one that carved the baby out, Susan Atkins. I went to church with Susan Atkins. Wow. She was my neighbor. And so wow. These kind of things, I'm like, and every time throughout the time that I've done all these things, I've always had those epiphanies, like, how did I get here? You know what I'm saying? How did I get here? And so I'm going to tell you, the moment before I went to fire camp, the moment that it hit me is when, because it's a revolving door. They'll always have a bed for you.
Right.
Know that. They will have a bed for you and some food, you know? And so I seen this lady. She was an older lady. And I see her come and go like 3 times. And the 3rd time I was sitting on because, you know, the women there, they wait for the fish to come in, you know, because it's new meat, you know, like men, you know, they're like, right. Oh, we see who all the new girls are. You right. know, most of the people, they want the women, you know, the you know, they're looking for a new girl or commissary, whatever. They're going to use the white girls, you know.
Right.
With the white girls, because their family
right.
has money, and you know they want to, like, you know, it's a dog world. That's the way it is, you
right?
Know? And it's like, it's sad, but it's true, you know. And so I was sitting there on the grass and, you know, chilling with the homies, and I see this lady coming back, and I was like, and it hit me, and I started weeping. I was like, I don't want to be that person, because she's someone's mom, she's someone's grandma, she's someone's sister, she's someone's daughter. And I'm like, if I don't change my life, that's going to be me, you know? And so I just was like, and so that night, my last term that I did, because I did some violations, that night I got in my bed, and I've known the Lord, but there's a difference between knowing the Lord and making him Lord of your life. Okay. Right. So right. I knew the Lord. I knew of the Lord. I knew God was there. I knew, but I didn't want to give up my ways, you know? And so I went and I slept and I cried. And I said, God, if you change my life, I'll serve you for the rest of my life if you help me to change my life. And I said a simple prayer and I cried myself to sleep because I saw that lady and I said, if I don't stop at the rate that I'm going, that's going to be me.
Yeah, you're gonna end up doing life or end up dead.
My children are going to have to come see me in these walls, and that's not what I wanted. And so I said that prayer not knowing that God actually really heard me, and he held me up to that. And that's where I'm at now, you know, but it took years.
Wow.
It was a lot
Can we
of
go back back into a little bit more about fire camp?
So fire camp, it was fun, man. Ask my brother, I came out more buff than him. He saw me, I was like stacked. My arms were solid. I was tiny. I came out, I was like, my brother asked him, child.
Well, hey, were you guys getting hold up? Now that you mentioned child, because he was, you know, that's his story. I'll let him tell it, but he was getting locked up too as well, and YA and all this. Were you guys at the same time? Were these things going on with him as well?
We lived two separate lives.
Okay.
We never were in contact the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think what G-Lew was trying to say, or maybe I would ask the question, you know, where at the same time you were getting locked up, was he getting locked up?
He getting locked up,
He
yeah.
was getting locked up at juvenile hall. I was to visit him at juvenile hall. He was getting locked up like
early
at 10 or something.
Right.
That guy was in there before I even knew what drugs was, before I even knew what going to prison and jail was. I was a late bloomer. I didn't start going to prison until I was 20 something. I started late. Like it took me that long to get there, you know. Mikey was already like, my brother was already like, he's already done time. I mean, he was in there attempted murder, this, that, you know, he had all kinds of crazy stuff. And he still, even after that, even when I got clean and saved and all that, he still was
after that. And after that.
And I love my brother. He's changed his life.
But he's really changed. Like if like you just said, all these things you just said, if you met Child now, you probably wouldn't even know all that. I mean, to me, it seems like he's really changed his like positive, you know, outlook and how, you know, everything. You know what I mean?
He's always there for me. Yeah, but you know, and I did the fire camp thing, and I fought fires, and you know, and
fighting fires. How was it? I mean, do you think? Hold up. Looking back on that, because a lot of people went to fire camp. I mean, and I know it taught people and it made them better. But do you really think, looking back, should they have been putting youngsters out there like that? Because a lot of people, some even lost their lives, I heard.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really think they should have been doing that?
Over a cliff.
Yeah.
It was so dark. There was a cliff. He went to use the restroom and he fell off the cliff.
Wow.
Yeah, they put us to no man's land. So we get the project that nobody wants.
Right.
And they put us up there.
Right.
You got people hanging up. My homie was like, hey.
That's crazy. That's why I'm like, do you really think they should be doing that though? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're standing there like waiting for her to go over the cliff. Thank God a stopped her, or she would have went over. You know, like we had some crazy, and I'm telling you, there's people. It was the most fun, the funniest. I met a lot of good girls, you know, people there, and it was fun times. Like we had fun, you know, and everything. But when we got, you know, together and we had to like fight the fire, we stuck together, you know. It didn't matter if we fought each other last night, the next day we were a team.
So it worked as bonding people. I know that's what they were trying to do.
Too, are you gonna help us?
Yeah. Right.
And that's what happened. But it was fun. I had fun, and you know, I was the first Sawyer. I was the leader. You know, everywhere I go, I'm the leader. I've been a leader my whole life. You know, and you know, it's
not in this house. Not in this house. Let's talk about it. Not in this house. Not in this house. Not in this house. Don't get it twisted, people. You know what I'm saying? Not in this house. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
No, let's talk about it after. Let's talk about it after. Okay. After we got Michelle, let's talk about it. G-Lew, I'll call you tomorrow.
I had to humble myself. I was very hard to live with. Trust me. Like you know, getting to my hubby.
How did you guys even hook? Like, get into this guy right here. How did this happen?
He used to make fun of me. That's why.
How did this happen right here?
Well, oh God, it's a lot. So I known his family since I was 16 years old. Let's just put it.
Believe it or not, but she knew my family.
he wasn't nowhere. He was a prodigal like me. Like we were out somewhere, and then
Right.
when it was time to come back to God, I met him with his mom in the church.
But let me remind you, people, she is 3-4 years older than me.
Whatever. So anyway, so we met in his mom and dad's church. He didn't like me because he said, "Who's this girl with my mom? She follows my mom, and who is she?" Like he was jealous. You know, you guys already witnessed that. But you know what I'm saying? I love you, babe.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. Let's keep it.
Let's talk about it. Come on, let's talk about it, man.
All right. She knew my mom and them. They brought her in because it's crazy. She was on the streets like a runaway tween. I remember that. And I was like, who in the hell is this freaking girl coming into our house? So she's already been with me like when at the age of 10. I'm 45.
Wow.
So like they found her living out there already going through emotional situations. So they found her like she was a wounded soul. So my parents already were back then. They were pastors and everything. So my aunt
Did you
Susie,
remember all that? Did you really remember that time?
Yeah, yeah. My aunt Susie was her aunt's friend. So that's how they got introduced to my parents. And then after my parents took the initiative to take her under her wing and try to help her at that young age. And at that time, I was going at it with my parents. I didn't get along with my stepdad. So I ended up moving away. I ended up going to North Carolina. And then after, when I came back, she only stood around my parents for a year. But they were able to plant a seed in her. They witnessed her, told her about God. And then after, when I came back, my story goes from there. And then her story took off. But we knew each other like prior, but we didn't know each other. But we kind of knew each other until after, like I got out of jail. I did a county lit in 2021. Not 2012 or 2000.
Hold on a minute. You just got out.
Yeah,
You just got out on me. Damn, hold on, I missed that one. All right, go ahead.
2001, 2002. I just got out, and then she just.
Let's talk about it. All right,
I got out, and she got out at the same time. And at that time, my parents were they were hosting a church. And then after they got a hold of her aunt, and my aunt got a hold of her aunt, and then my parents invited her back to our church, and that's how she was fresh out of jail. I was fresh out of jail, and things happen, man.
You know what I love is that we shared the Bible together. Like every week we would come to church, and then he'd say, "Did you read this about Paul? And he was on his horse and going to Damascus, and then God knocked him down." And we were just like. We were growing, we were learning, we were friends,
I was more like Friday, man. I was like, man, the Lord is my shepherd. He knows what I want.
Hey, Big D, so you've always been at your parents, I don't know, your mom who was at church, you've always known God. You just been running.
At 10 years old.
You're disobedient. Okay.
At 10 years old, I was after.
So then,
yeah. It's in
that
you, my
happened
boy.
the way we knew okay, so I've been in a lot of relationships, right? And I don't pick people like my picking.
Right.
So I told the Lord so I got out of prison. Remember I said that prayer? So I got out and I kept my word to God, right? So I was like, okay. So then I found his mom and dad again. So then we ended up in the same church. And then I wanted to give up. Like I was going to church and it started to get hard. I was like, oh, I can't do this. I want to go back to my old ways. And then the lady that was there was praying. She said, remember the promise you made to God. And nobody knew, only me, because I was me and God, right? So he said, remember the promise you made to God. I started crying. And I was like, oh my God, okay, Lord, I'm sorry. Because he already knew what I was thinking, Mm-hmm. And then so I met him. And then so I told the Lord, I was like, I don't want to have nothing to do with picking nobody. Like, I'm putting this all in your hands. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't do well picking the person, So anyway, so we were there together, whatever. Long story short, he did not want,
Let's talk about it. Okay?
Let's talk about it.
All right, let's get saucy. Let's get saucy. Let's talk about it. So I was going back, I was coming back. She was coming fresh out of jail. I was coming fresh out of jail. I was already tired of running the streets with my homies and stuff like that. And I wasn't ready for a relationship. I was really trying to just better myself with the things of God. I was just trying to stay focused. And when she came, it was cool. Like she said, we should start sharing stuff, and we're collaborating. And honestly, she was already dating somebody. So
let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. There you go, G-Lew. Do you wanna tell
Let's go.
do you want to tell the audience who you were dating back then, or just okay? So, anyways, we'll just say we would just say it was another G-Lew's homeboy. We would just say that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's not talk about it then. Let's talk about it, but let's not talk about it. Let's go.
No, but I thought she was cool and everything, but I was on a serious mode, man. Like I said, I was trying to find myself as well. And we came in, like she said, we should start sharing the Bible. I thought she was very cool, and I was just like, yeah, man, I always thought she was beautiful on the outside, but I used to judge on the inside. I used to judge her on the inside because I knew of her and I knew her character.
But did you remember her from way back when you were a kid?
No, I didn't. I didn't remember then. I just heard a lot about her because my stepdad and my mom, they would feed me the stuff like, oh, she's been in prison, she's done this, she's done that, they were just throwing her rap sheet on her, and I was just like, damn, I don't even want to mess with this girl, But we were good friends, like like I said, we used to share stuff and all that. Sometimes we used to go out as group things. I used to buy her stuff and all that because she was going to school for dental. She actually got her GED. She was trying to better her life, So, and then the next thing you know, she just she started coughing. So the next thing, hold on, let me finish.
Talk about it.
Hold on, let me finish. So she next thing you know, she started giving me these discreet calls, like, hey, like, what's up? What are you doing? And I was just like, what do you mean? What am I doing? Like, And then after she would go to a car show, like she would send me pictures. I'm over here with your aunt. And I was just like, okay, so you're over here with your aunt. Like, so I was not looking.
She was on you, my boy.
On the outside, she was a very beautiful woman. And the inside, I was judging her inside, I was like, I was telling myself, I'm going to keep it real. Let's talk about it, I'm going to keep it real. Big D's going to keep it real, So I didn't want nothing to do with her because I kind of judged her past, right? So she would come and make an attempt. And then for one day, she told her, she heard something in the voice. And she told one of her good friends that, hey, I think I'm falling for this dude. So that's the story how it began. She could say that better. So anyway, let's look a little further up. She came and she started approaching me. And then I heard from my aunt, like, hey, I think Monica likes you. And I was like, man, I don't want nothing to do with that because, like I said, she's a very beautiful woman on the outside, but I was judging her on her inside, right? So one day we were praying. She was being very pursuing. And I was just like, no. And one day I was judging. I was praying on my knees, man. It's real talk right here. Let's talk about it. So I was on my knees and I was praying and I was just like, man, I confronted God and I was just like, hey, man, this girl's she's harassing me, Lord. I'm saying? I want nothing to do with that. I'm trying to keep my eyes on you. You know what I'm saying? She's harassing me, Lord. She's being let me tell you, man. The way she says
you were trying to be good at that time. You were really focused.
I was trying to build a relationship, like I said. So her being the aggressor, like the way she says she is, she's very persistent. She just like, wow. I was like, no, I don't want nothing to do with that because I was judging outside. So one day I was on my knees, I was praying, and I was judging. I was like, Lord, I want nothing to do with this girl. She's been in prison for fire camps. She's been in a women's prison, Lord. I was just saying, I was just like, Lord, what's going on? She got 2 different baby daddies. I just laid it out there, right?
You was really talking to God, like you was talking to God like the homie,
like to God, dog. Let's talk about it. I was talking to the Lord. Lord, let's talk about it, dog. Okay. So one day, so after my prayer, I was judging. I was like, hey, Lord, she's done this, and she's done this. And I honestly, God knows me. I heard a voice say, and she like the movie The Lord of the Rings, like that little beagle, that little thing. I heard a voice say, you done things worse. And I was just like, what the hell? Like what? I just heard it start, and I started reflecting to what he said. And then I knew the voice, what he heard was said. I knew what he was talking about. Just because I didn't go to prison for it or jail for it, I heard that voice and I knew what he was talking about. And my judgment went away for it. And I had a lot of sympathy and compassion for it. And Next thing you know, I moved to San Diego with my aunt, and my aunt knew her. That was her aunt's best friend, so she knew Monica real good. And then Monica, she would invite Monica to come and spend the weekend with us in San Diego. I was like, man, me and my cousin be like, what is she doing here?
So you guys just kept. It wasn't even by design. You guys just kept coming into each other's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
let me tell my side.
Wow.
So it was by design because I was at church, right? And then of course, you know, I was dating someone else, and then I get to church, and this lady came from up north, and she said, "Oh, are you married?" And I was like, "No, I'm not married." And then she goes, "Oh, well, you're gonna get married." And I was like, "I don't gotta wait." Like after, okay, so whatever happened with me and the other individual, his stepdad was my spiritual father, and he told me, he goes, "That guy's not for you. That guy's not for you." And I was like, "Okay." He goes, "Tell him you want to get married, and then he's gonna leave." And I was like, "Okay."
My stepdad. Yeah.
Or my spiritual father, same thing. So yeah, your stepdad. So I did that, whatever. Then that fell off, right? So then I was at church, and we were, you know, after church, you guys have food. You know, sometimes everybody has food, right? So we were eating, and I'm eating, and we already had those conversations about the Bible, this and that, right? Before I even started pursuing him, because I didn't even pursue him until God gave me the go, right? So I was like sitting there, and then I didn't look at him.
I don't know, Big D said you were making your own moves.
No,
you know, you were on your own. You were making your own moves outside of God. You were making your own moves.
He didn't tell the first part yet. So I'm in the kitchen.
All right, let me stop.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Oh my God! So let me tell you how people through every tragedy there's a good story right now. There's every tragedy there's a good story.
Yeah, so I was in the kitchen, and I heard a voice that said, "That's your husband," right? Because the lady first said, "Oh, you're gonna get married," and I'm like, "I don't got a boyfriend." And I'm in the kitchen. He turns around, and he turns around, and he's like, "Sister Monica, do you want a napkin?" So I looked at him, and when I looked at him and he gave me the napkin, I was like, "Thank you." And then I heard, "He's your husband."
I was just trying to be polite, bro. Like, here, you need a napkin, man. Like that, you know what I'm saying? Who do I blame this on? Oh, man, you know.
And then so God said that to me, and then I got scared because he's the pastor's kid. You know what I'm saying? I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, and before I wouldn't care, you know, I was aggressive, but when I got in God, I started changing, you know. So then I was like, but I still was being pursuing, but like I would do little like hints, you know. But
wait, hold on, yeah, she would throw hints, bro. Hey, G-Lew, let me tell you something.
You were doing missions on my boy.
Yeah, hey, G-Lew, I was an innocent little dove, homie. You know what I'm saying? Hey, G-Lew, let me tell you.
Did you take advantage of Big D, Monica?
Hey, G-Lew,
go ahead.
Check it out. She used to come like, I mean, she was like, she didn't have a right. Hold on. She didn't have a right to church sometimes, right? So like before I got a call where she was staying at with her aunt, it wasn't too far from our church. Through a car. But she used to roll up to church on a beach cruiser, homie, gangster dog. And then my
Let me tell them why though. Let me tell them why. You know why I rolled up on a beach? Let me tell you guys why. Because the way that I pursued the devil, I pursued God. That's the reason.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then after even my stepfather and my mom used to make. They used to call him Debo. My stepdad called her Debo one day. One day we're right there, right? We're in church, and she goes, "Oh, here comes Debo."
Oh,
here comes Debo.
You know why? Because for me, it was a life and death situation.
Right.
It was either I was going to serve
got about 40,
or I was going to die. So, and people didn't want to give me a ride. So, the way that I chase drugs and the way that I put myself out there for Nayla, you're funny. So the way that I put myself out there that's in my mentality. That's what I said. I'm not gonna let nothing get in my way. I was like a pit bull, you know. Once I latch on, and I'm the same way, and that's why I'm at where I'm at today. Because that Depot day, I'm about to get to my destination. If it took a bike, if it took skates, if it took a skateboard, if it took running, walking. Because, you know, and that's the problem now, because people don't put that type of effort to do good. And
Right.
situation they're in right now because they just
Right.
focus on the negative. And since I was so negative my whole life, that's why I got on the bike, and I didn't care who. And I'm not offended or anything. Don't you know what I'm saying? I'm not. It's a story. It's funny. It's cool. But one thing about me, I have a real serious side. Ask my husband, because when he gets out of line, you know, that little
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
It's not a good situation, man. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
I'm very militant. You know what I'm saying? I'm very strict because I know what the enemy offers. I know what's out in the streets. I know everything to me is a life and death situation because it's not only affecting my life, but it's affecting the generations to come. It's affecting our children and our children's children's children, the choices that we're making right now. So that's why it became really serious to me. You know what I'm saying? And I like to, my word is my bond. So I gave my word to God. And if it meant I had to get on a bike and people were going to laugh at me, that was okay too. Because you know what?
At that time, like I said, even my parents kind of laughed at it, and they called it out. And that's, and people, like she said, it's a dire situation between life or death. You just don't know what people are going through, man. So she was in a serious notion. So
we say your parents laughed at her, though.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It was just like the way, not in a gosh way. Yeah, not in a gosh way, but in a way because
it's just that
I'm just clowning.
Because they already knew. They knew her. Yeah, hold on. They knew her from a teenager understanding, so they know, like, hey, it was all fun and games. That's just like, hey.
Right.
So just to say, like, throughout that, to make a long story shorter than that. After I heard God's voice say, like, hey, before you judge her, because the Bible says, hey, before you put one finger at one, you better put two fingers at yourself. Yeah. And so I had to remember that, and I was just like that. And he goes, and then when he told me, like, he goes, when I was praying, he goes, your sins are worse than hers. And I was just like, I just heard it. To this day, I could hear it, man. And I was just like, damn. So I started reflecting the things that I was doing, and I said, damn, because I hate to say it, man. If everybody knows about the book of the commandments, the 10 commandments in the Bible, I broke every single one, man, seriously, and not even just throwing it out there like that to just throw my business, but it comes and goes. So I had to reflect and look at yourself, like, hey, I had to put 10 commandments back and fingers back at me, and then I gave her a chance, and then next thing you know, we just we started liking each other, and a year and a half later, man, I think a year later, actually, she locked it up with me, homie. We became Sally, so
lock it up.
We locked it up, and we had a beautiful daughter after that, and
wow.
It's and let me tell you guys, if we can, I'm going to elaborate a little bit too. I thought I was wounded and went through a lot of stuff and everything, but I wasn't, man. Compared to other people, don't ever judge anybody until you put yourself in their shoes, man. And I thought I had a lot of anger and a lot of issues and stuff like that, and other people carry it along in a different way. And like I said, I was kind of terrified because she has a 15-page rap sheet. so I was like, damn, I never even been in prison.
There was some days that girl came out, and he would be like, whoa, and I'm like,
and through that, sharing that too, you got to understand. So I have to deal, or I had to deal, or I still deal with, through all the men that violated her, traumatized her, let her go, disappointed her, did their things. I have dealt with it on solid ground. Now, has it been perfect? She will tell you it hasn't been nearly perfect. But do we love each other? I'll tell you something. We love each other 110%, So you guys got to figure out. So whoever's going through the situation, whoever's going through the situation, whoever has a struggles, whoever has a wife that's been in prison, usually it's the opposite. Usually the women have the husband that's a prisoner. I'm dealing with a wife that's been in prison. Totally opposite, totally different. But it ain't different because she's been locked up in her mind. She's been locked up institutionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. It's just done a lot. So
you know what it was? It's just that I wasn't going to accept anything less than your 100% because I've been burned. I've been doubt. I've been abused. I've been betrayed. I've been, cheated on and this and that. So I could see, and I have a discernment that's so heavy. So I'm gonna see you a mile away when you're coming. So it's like I just, I'm gonna put up my boundaries, and I'm gonna put up my guard and be like, hey, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Do you think,
Like,
Monica?
and
Do you
you can't
think
get away with
this?
nothing because and you
Right.
know, I'm sorry because you know, and you're not gonna make me feel like I'm crazy because what I see is what it is, you know.
Right.
And it's not that he's done anything bad or wrong, but the fact of the matter is that he had some issues too. Not only me,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
No,
He
I'm glad you. No, no, look, Monica, I'm glad you said this, right? Because look, let's talk about it. I was gonna cut into Big D every now and then and say, what was your backstory a little bit? You know, she had some things going on. I know you probably had your own things going on that we didn't know about or whatever. But like for you, Big D, like throughout your journey, did you have things like as far as like in the way of maybe getting with your wife? Did you have past relationship that you had to get over or deal with or whatever, or that was in the way? Or obviously, I don't know if you had prior children or whatever. What was your backstory, Big D? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I had a prior relationship, and I have a son that's out there, but that relationship ended pretty dire. I was too dedicated and too motivated, and I had 100% in my neighborhood. I didn't settle for
Right,
anything less. It's I try to once I had my first son, I try to work it out with my baby's mom at the first time, but I was just too busy. I would go see her for the weekend, and then I would go gang banging. I was still a young man during that time too. I had no responsibilities, no obligation. I wasn't working. I wasn't doing anything else. I just thought, the homies used to clown you. You know what I mean? At 16, 17, and be like, "Oh, you're over there at your baby's mom's house. We're all here
right,
gang bang stuff like that." So
right,
my loyalty felt like, you know what I mean, to the hood. I didn't have no loyalty towards, like, you can't balance two things at one time. So somewhere along the line, you're gonna drop the oranges. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So I did after that. I did happen after that. I remember one time. I mean, the last time I see my son was always, it's been a long time. But I remember my baby's mom said it the first time. Said, "Hey, you need to get yourself together. You can't love me and love my son. You can't do this. For all I know, you're gonna get killed. And then this is the one I have to be with." And you guys, if you guys know my story a little bit, I grew up without a father. So at the same time, they were like already setting. They were seeing the path. And then my cousin got killed like 5-6 years before that. So they were saying like, man, this guy's not gonna stop, man, because his cousin got killed. He's still out there gangbang. He's still doing it. This guy's next. My other cousin kind of died down, and he had kids, and he kind of settled off. He was taking care of
right,
responsibility. Me, I was just going full force. I was going through a lot of heartache, a lot of struggles, a lot of hurts myself. So you see, we all come combated and hurt in some way or one or another. I didn't have a father. She didn't have a father. That's just the way it is, right? Let's talk about it. So
right,
it's funny, through the cycle, through the journey, I mean, we ended up with each other, despite our adversities, our struggles and everything. And like she said, God was always in the middle, and not knowing that we were going to end up together. So, like I said, when she got out, that's when I got out. And then we ended up at my mom's church. And, I tried to say no. And I guess God said yeah, because when you make a vow, like my wife said, you said yeah, fool. You didn't say no.
right,
So like,
right.
so it's a commitment, so I ain't gonna say we had a beautiful daughter after that. And then even her journey gets a little bit more, I mean, exciting. She's almost done with certain things, and I'll let her tell you about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
Wow.
been a journey, you know. I
You
just
have a long. Hold up, Monica. Have you ever thought about writing a book or something?
oh
Oh
yeah, no,
man.
Okay, okay,
it's
okay. I'm
it's
gonna leave it there.
it's in the making. So
Okay,
yeah, it's
okay.
in the making, and it's
Just make sure you put my name in there, okay, Robert? Okay, Big D.
Big D.
yeah. So it's but I come with good news. That's my story. That's my backdrop. I'm sure everybody has a story. I'm sure everybody has a testimony. I'm sure everybody has pain and trauma and the things that they're even dealing with now. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm here. I'm as transparent as I could be. You know what I mean? I've been a part of my church for almost a decade, since 2004. You know what I mean? I just love praying for people. I love helping people. I love just having compassion. And the one thing that I tell God, I said, never let me forget where I came from. Just because I'm where I'm at today, I never forget anybody. I will not act like I'm better than. I will not judge you. I will not. There's no way. I'm like Mary Magdalene, you know what I mean, in the Bible. I mean, I've done so much in my life that there's no way that I can even look down on another individual at all. Like
Right.
my goal and my purpose is to bring encouragement. My goal and my purpose is to bring hope. My goal and my purpose is to just show love. You know what I'm saying? And and when I love hard. You know what I'm saying? And
Do
and
you,
I
do you
just
guys?
you
This
guys
is a
know.
question for you both. Do you guys plan on in the future maybe? I don't want to say start a ministry, but like using like even the platforms and the things you guys have, to reach people and I mean do it in a way because you guys too are a perfect story and a way to reach people because like Big D, when we were talking earlier, and I'm like, Big D, I really like that, man. You know what's going on with you, bro, and all that. He's like, but we're not perfect, you know what I mean, and all this. And this is what the people want to hear, though. They don't want to hear from people that are perfect or claim to be perfect.
Yeah,
Do you guys plan to use, to as because you guys are powerful together to maybe reach out to people to, put the word out there and
Yeah, we encountered some situations like that already, and led us to the situations where we're trying to do right now. As far as like I said, whatever the enemy would tend for bad, God would turn it for good. Like as some little situation, I got in trouble in San Diego. To make a long story short, I had to do some anger management classes, but I met a person that helped us to start our business like a couple years ago, and then after, so we kind of have like a anger management business, so we're working on that. Also, we were able to go. We met up with an organization through a church, and we were able to go. We were getting paid $25 an hour to go back into the jails and help. Trying to place people who are not doing long term. They're only doing like 3 weeks, like 2 weeks, and stuff like. So we will try to find them like housing, and that was part of our ministry. So me and my wife, we were able to go inside the county jail in Vista, North County, San Diego. Shout out to Vista out there. And we were able to experience, but it was funny because when we would go, and then after when you go to jail, you never get come out, the same way, especially in the same day. So me and my wife, we would talk to people, and especially men. My wife, we were talking to men. So, but these men respected my wife because they know she was a real one, right?
Right.
So we were helping the community. We had a little chance to experience that, little ways that God has shown us, like, man, this is your guys' ministry, like you said. And we took it all hand in hand, and we're praying that God will open up the door, and from our learning experience from the past into the present, that we could use this and adapt this to the future.
So the ministry is every day.
Yeah.
I'm not good with titles. When God calls us from our mother's womb, He calls us. Man don't need to approve that. You know what I'm saying? And when you're called, you're called. You don't need a certificate. You don't need education because and it's good. I'm in school. I'm going to get my bachelor's degree. I want to go for my master's. I'm trying to open up group homes. I need to do the proposal. I have a lot of things going on in my life. I want to write a book, and it's only the grace of God. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And I don't really, I want to open up many group homes. I want to name them, there's a lot of significance in things, and so if you think, if I've allowed the enemy to ravish me, and the way that I was in the world, it's like, how like when things happen in your life or someone hurts someone you love, and it's like payback, right? That's the way the world is, right? We're gonna pay back, be vindictive, get revenge, whatever. But so my revenge is to do better with my life and to show others that they could do it too. It doesn't matter. I mean, I literally like took in my whole rap sheet to a job interview just to test God, and they called me for an interview.
Wow.
And
wow.
There's a lot.
Hold up. Because did you hear what she said? She purposely did it. Some people are scared of that. For you to purposely do it just to test God, and say, let me see. And it worked. That's powerful right there.
And that broke down the mindset, because we have a lot of mindsets, a lot of negative mindsets.
A lot of barriers
and walls. And
that's
what I'm saying? And I became a grave digger. You know what I mean? Sometimes people right now, they're buried. They're buried. They're not even living. They're just existing. They're walking zombies. And it's not a judgment, because I was that person. And what I want to do is I want to be the one, instead of fighting with people, I want to be the one to help them break out of those chains. I want to be the one to help them, pray for them. I want to be the one to get in the dirt and be like, hey, I got you. God got you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And don't give up. Or if you need that little push, or if you need that just listening ear, like, so, I didn't call myself, and at one point I told the Lord, I don't want to do this, because people are mean, like they judge you, they think you think you're better than, and, and a lot of times people have misunderstood me. Ask my husband, because I don't know, my approach sometimes could be very, 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 it seems like I have no heart, but my approach is that way because I'm not dealing with the actual individual. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
dealing with the things that are fighting against them. So sometimes I get mixed up with, you know, I'm not dealing with the person, I'm dealing with the demons, you know what I'm saying, in a sense. So it's like I'm a fighter, I'm a trailblazer, I'm gonna stand my watch, I'm gonna stand my guard. And the one scripture I love, I don't know exactly where it's at. I'll look it up right now, but it talks about, and this is what I know the Lord wanted me to share today, because I asked God today, I was like, Lord,
If you
what
can
is
find a scripture, I could put it in the comments so we can pin it.
Which one, babe? It's the one that goes, there's no greater love than to lay down your life for a friend.
Yeah.
Let me look it up. Hold on. I'll tell you right now, G-Lew. But so I was talking to God all day, and I was telling him, what is it that, you know what I mean? Hold on one second. There's no greater love than to lay down your life for a friend, Bible scripture.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we've been through, and like I said,
13.
What keeps you guys as a well, I'm sure as a couple, you guys feed off each other, but what keeps you guys strong and in the work? Like, you know what I mean? When sometimes it's easy to not fall off, but get, you know, slide back into old ways here and there. But what keeps you guys strong in your faith, like up here, you know what I mean, to keep you guys, you know, how you are now? You know what I mean?
right. Go ahead, babe.
That's what I was going to get to, you know, that question, because that scripture right there is because we have to sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? We have to put in the work. And people tell me, how did you do it? I worked hard, and it wasn't easy. It just got handed to you. You have to put in the work, you know, and it's like someone told me one time, okay, if you starve one dog and you feed the other, and then you put them to fight, which one's going to win? The one who's stronger, that's been fed, than the one who hasn't. So it's a daily decision. You have to wake up and say, you think I don't have temptation of my past? You think that I don't got to face those problems and emotions? I'm a human being. I face, but the Bible says that there's no temptation to man that we cannot overcome. The problem is we're not willing to humble ourselves. We're not willing to say, you know what, God, I'm going to give this up and be real about it, and it took me years. Not only did I hit every prison, not only did, you know what I mean, I hit every city probably party, but I hit every rehab, you know what I mean? It just wasn't overnight. I'm not talking.
Hey, does rehab really work, or is it just for the person, or I guess with different people?
That's another way, honestly, between my opinion, is that's like how would I say, a normality of it, not a spirituality, you know? It's like the alcohol anonymous. Hey, they want you to worship the guy who's giving the classes and all that. You know, like, oh, let's salute Big D, because, you know, I mean, he's been doing it sober for sober for 20 years, this and that. Like, okay, so I'm not gonna say this guy didn't really help me, you know, God did, bro. Like, you know. But it's just the way, you know, the way it is. So like she says, we've been pretty much feeding off each other. We're not disregarding those kind of platforms, because sometimes those things, a lot of those AAs, drug addicted homes, have helped a lot of people, but, you know, not everybody, right? It's supposed to help everybody, but it doesn't.
You know, and the thing is to laying down your life for your friend, you know what I'm saying? And that's where, because it's a humbling experience, you know, it's like, okay, so I'm not going to, if I make a choice today to go back to what I was doing, I'm not laying my life down for my friend, because then when that time comes and they need me to be there for them with the love of God or in my right mind, then I can't, because I'm gonna be on my own problems. You know what I'm saying? So I have to give up what makes me feel good. You know what I mean? And not way, but let me speak, babe. And I know my husband, he says, oh, you're too harsh. And I'm like, but sometimes people need it.
Talk about it.
One of those.
Let's talk about it.
You couldn't chemical nothing for me, because if I can manipulate you, I will. And that's how I was. I will make every excuse in the book. I'll say, you know, but the reality is we have a choice every day. Okay?
Right.
Yeah. What it is is believe it or not, my wife is more stern, and I'm more understanding. So, you know, I give more the benefit of the doubt. She has a God personality. I have the Jesus personality, you know. God will strike you dead. You know what I mean? Jesus came and died on the cross. So because you got to give room for mistake. Let's just be honest. You know, nobody's perfect. You know. But the thing is, wait, hold on. The thing is, I see my wife. She just has a heart. She don't want nobody to suffer. She don't want nobody to go through the heartaches and the struggle. You know, especially women who are. You know, you got to understand the weaker vessel in a relationship is a woman. You know, not the man. You know, but they carry but a woman's a lot stronger in other parts where the men are weaker. So you know, it's a balance. You know, so. We're not here like to condemn, like you said, like, hey, if you've done a mistake, we've done mistakes many of times through our spiritual walk and this and that. But the only way you learn is through you go through stuff. You know, you have to go back and revert, and you know, because you know, is God really gonna forgive me? Is God gonna forgive me for being mad at my wife? I'm gonna go to bed, you know what I mean, without my wife. We argued this day, and you know, we did this, and you know, we just it's pretty much not an excuse. Like it says, you got to live and learn. But you know, life is serious, man. You know, it's not a joke, and that's why she comes in. You know, she takes it very serious, and because you know, she really. I ain't saying we're trying to save the whole world, man, but like it's a serious notion because the next day you could be dead, man.
Right.
Yeah, you could just, you know, I've seen too much tragedy, you know, and it's just hard because like I just.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Talk about it. It's okay.
I just care, you know.
We just want to let everybody know, it's like, hey, this is what the show's all about, man. Being transparent and being, you know, before you could be real with everybody else, you got to be real with ourselves.
So I can't be anything else but real. Like if you meet me, like I'm just that way, you know. It can't be anything else than what I am, and my intention is good. So, you know, I don't want to offend anybody, or, you know, I don't want nobody to feel like I'm judging you. I just say the things that I say because it's going to help you, you know, and that's all I'm trying to do, you know. But I am stern. I am a very stern person because I have a responsibility and I have to answer to God, you know, and when I stand before God, I have to give an account to my life, and I can't compromise the truth, you know. And would you rather be kissed with a lie, or would you rather be told the truth, you know? And you know, and that's where I come from, you know. It's like I'm a safe place, you know, because my goal is to tell you that God loves you so much, you know.
I have a question. So what would you say to those people who don't believe in a spirituality or don't believe in God?
Regardless if people have spirituality or not, love conquers everything. I don't care what religion you are. You're a human being. We need love. We need unconditional love. Love breaks every yoke of bondage. Love. That's why people do the things they do, because they don't understand how valued they are. They don't understand how God has died for them. You know what I mean? Like they don't have the understanding that there's okay. So when I realized that, thanks, Denise.
It's okay.
When I realized that I was loved unconditionally, I didn't have to worry about my identity and who I was. And now that I know that I'm loved unconditionally, I don't even have to earn it. I don't have to strive for it. I don't have to. Just knowing that is a liberty, you know. But not many people know that true unconditional love. We don't even have to put God in it, but love, you know, the love, the value, the honor, the respect as a human being. You know that.
Yeah, it's tough times right now, and a lot of people are not showing. Yeah, you can see a lot of anger and animosity, disparity. You know what I mean? A war. You know, you see people. It's crazy.
I pray. I don't just say, oh, I pray. No, I pray. I cry. I cry. And I tell God, you know, like how my friends, I pray for G-Lew. I pray for everybody, you know, like, because I want to see.
Thank you.
Good, you know? And I'm sorry that I'm crying because I didn't plan this. But I believe that God wants, and we need to be transparent because we've been just hiding this too long already. All the hurt, all the brokenness, all the sorrow, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it, and that's what's keeping us sick, because we don't heal from the things that we need to heal from. And if we don't heal from those things, then we're never going to be well. And then we're going to just, and I know that it doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. That's irrelevant. The bottom line is we are human beings.
What about people who go, what's your take on this? Like, people, like you just said, people need to talk about it nowadays. A lot of people go see therapists and all this stuff, opposed to someone having a relationship with God. Like, what would you suggest? Like, if you know what I mean, what's your take on that? Like, therapists and all that, opposed to God,
my thing is,
or if it is any, I don't know.
personally, you got to know your identity. People they don't have an identity. That's why you have people out there that don't know what they are anymore. You know what I mean? And it's not knocking them. It's just they don't.
Hold on, real quick. It's funny how you say that. Let me elaborate that, because identity is being challenged these days right now, to tell you the truth. And when I say that, is our children, right? The system's trying to conform them to say, like, hey, it's okay to be, a boy loves a boy or a girl loves a boy, or where they're trying to change their generosity. So it's funny how you mentioned, not funny how you mentioned that, but it's good that you mentioned that, like in that scenario. So go ahead.
Yeah, and they give people. I want to elaborate on that, not to get too much into it. I don't want to, but like you said, they're doing this with kids and now allowing kids to have choices that when they're only kids, you can't make those choices. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of. I don't want to get too deep into that, but it's hard for a kid to know what they want or whatever as a child. That's why you have to be an adult. You have to be an adult to buy cigarettes, to drink beer, or go to war, right? So how can a kid make these decisions? But go ahead.
Right. Well, I think that's what she was emphasizing on too. Is it's like, hey, I mean, we got to be loved as young children. That's our responsibility and our accountability as parents, as individuals, or whoever's raising you. Because to make sure that we could challenge and discuss those situations when those situations happen. That's what the thing that a closed mouth don't get fed unless you're opening your mouth to eat. So that's what the situation is right now. There's a lot of disparity, and when disparity comes confusion. So people have their own take. Well, like, hey, well, if it's okay with this and it's okay with that, then I guess it's okay with that. So it's just pretty crazy, man.
So let's get back to love. Right. Like, what person, So what people, okay, and okay, people don't believe in God. Okay, that's understandable. We get that a lot. Like, but what about love? You're gonna tell me people don't believe in love? Just people, and I know a lot of so love, God is love. So let's just throw the God out, because people, they get a little God, they don't.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that don't know love, though. They necessarily do. You got to understand from the beginning. At the beginning,
talk about love. Let's talk about love, because they don't know that. That's why we need to talk about it. That's why it needs to be brought up. That's why
okay. I'm gonna talk about it right now. Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? No, I'm just playing.
I get really serious, like, because my life was, it's just coming out of the gratefulness of my heart that God has saved me and that God will deliver me. That's why. But sorry.
But since you say we gotta talk about love, what do you mean by that?
Well, being loved unconditionally, you know what I mean? Being loved
So
unconditionally.
what would you tell them? What would you say? Because some people, they fall out of love. Some people, were not raised with love. So what would you tell a person that they say they don't know how to love? Because I remember at one point you told me that you didn't know how to love. So how would you approach that person and tell them that if they tell you, like, hey, I don't know how to love? So what are your 10, your 5 best ways of helping somebody?
The most thing is that not giving up on a person. You know what I'm saying? That's a form of love. Just being by their side, listening to them, not judging them, being just a listening ear sometimes, not telling them what they should or shouldn't be doing, and just having an understanding of where they're coming from. You know what I mean? Not putting them down, or just hear them out, like, just because a lot of people, I've said some crazy things in my life, and half the time no one even cared. Like, for instance, what Denise just did. You're doing a good job. That's love, right? She said a little, all the people that are commenting.
Yeah, because love is broken off in many ways. Love is support, love is caring, love is
If you don't want to pray, you don't believe in praying, then let me just buy you a meal. Let me show you love. Let me show you're valued. Let me show you, you know what I mean, that you're important. Let me show you that, not everybody is gonna mistreat you. Let me, by showing in action, not in words, because people has been told so many things their whole life, and they've been disappointed. You know what I mean? I've been disappointed my whole life because people said they were going to do this or that, and then nothing. So it's like I try not to say things that I'm not going to do. I'm not perfect.
Yeah. Love is a form of action, but I believe too, there's a lot of people that say they want to do things, but they can't. Because whatever the situation.
Wow, I understand that too. You know what I'm saying? But because I've been abused so much, like I personally, I just try to do my best to kind of go over those. I try to take an accountability for myself and the things that I say and the things that I do. You know what I mean? I don't want to just be talking. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Yeah, and that's right, DD. It could be a mindset too. You know what I mean? Like the thought of, some people receive love differently. Some people give love differently. Like for a long time, my love to you was what? I used to do stuff for you, remember? And you would say, oh, but there's different love languages, but to love someone is to get to know what they are and to accommodate that. Like with you, your love language is affection. Mine wasn't. I was just irritated. That. I would get irritated. Oh, you're bothering me. Because the way I was loved, my mom bought me stuff, so that was my way of my love language until I had to learn, like, hey, I have to understand my husband. I have to learn to love him. I have to learn to.
Yeah, that was another thing. That was another thing. That was another thing too.
Talking about this because you guys are happily married, but like the things you're talking about now again goes to back what you said, D. Like we're not perfect, but if you could tell people how you guys as a couple, maybe you could share this with people who are struggling with, keeping a marriage together relationship, or people that even want to get married but may not feel there's any hope for marriage anymore, or whatever. Like, what advice would you give to people as a happily married couple?
You're gonna answer
not
that.
Perfect.
You're good at answering.
You want me to answer that first? Well, it's funny. Like I said, let's talk about it. So since we, going first, like you said, we're gonna go way back when me and my wife actually got married that day. So knowing that my wife had situations and trauma, and she had a lot of emotional distraughts. We went to go get married. Let me tell you a little story. We went to go get married, and the same day we got married, we were actually official married by the government. It was settled. It was by law. And right after that, we got in a big argument. Big argument. So big D, big argument. So right after that, what I did, and it was pretty stupid. Is that I got our marriage license and I ripped it in half. So So up to this day, our marriage license is ripped. But it's funny because I look at it as a symbol, is that's like, man, so telling all you other people who want to get married or who are going through challenges or different, it comes with the cost, it comes. One time, I remember another time too, right? Me and my wife, we had a difference, right? And she was going through a lot of disparities. So like she says, now that we talk about it, like let's talk about it, it's kind of funny how we look back and we see the things that we did to each other. And I remember one time we were going back. So this was a trippy part, right? This part's trippy right here. And she was on a good one, right? She was on a good one. She was emotionally still settling with her situation. See, I tried to change her right away. I didn't let her do it the golly way. I was doing everything else but loving her in a sense where I was loving her. Don't get me wrong. I think that's how love broke her. But she really, really pissed me off this one day. We were going to church, and then my daughter was young at this time, and we just got into a big argument. And I looked at her, man, and I just wanted to strangle her, man. I was ready, like, oh, man. And I looked up and I told God, like, man, Lord, how the hell do you love these type of people, man? You know? And then and that's the way God and I heard a voice again. I heard the voice of the God, the holy highs, you know what I mean? Just like the house of holies came down and said, that's how I felt when my son was on the cross, man. You know, you gotta love him. Like my wife said earlier, you gotta love him unconditionally, man. You know, so
Right.
when I heard that, it helped me. So you gotta, not only do you have the relationship, you know what I mean, within your normal relationship, because we got our normal relationships, right? I got love for G-Lew. I got a relationship with him. I got a G-Lew relationship with my wife. I got a relationship with my family, my cousins, your coworkers. But if you're missing the main relationship with God, bro, and this is just my opinion, you know what I mean? When those times get tough and when those times get gritty and you don't know how to fight back, that's what my wife would say. You know, if you don't know how, that's what she's trying to say. If you don't know how to fight back, that's how we kept our relationship back together. So even though despite that I tore our license, our marriage license, because I tore it, you know, guilty. Right. You know, we're still together after almost 18, 19 years. And look at it. We're two ex-convicts, two less education. We didn't know nothing growing up. And look, we're still together today. Thank God. Now, I don't really plan. I tell my wife, man, if we get to heaven, you know, hey, you know.
Jay, we need to share that part. That's so nice.
I tell, well, that's why you let me go first, right? You know, I'm just playing. But, you know, that's just coming from me. You know, I had to learn how to love my wife through her situation. I had to understand it because I'm not God. I can't heal her totally. All I could do is be a piece of the puzzle. So whoever's out there that's going through situations, if you're married and you're having hard times, my advice is just like, hey, try to get some help out there. You know, I mean, it's okay. Like we're doing right now. We're talking about it. You know, people today, these days, they're like this, G-Lew.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We don't want to talk about it, you know. Hey, whatever happens, but you know what? The first thing they'll do to you, they'll gossip behind you.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear so and so's relationship? Did you hear them? Did you hear them? That's the problem, because are we willing to tell? That's how you know people by their fruit. Are they there to help you, or they're there to talk about you? You know, so you got to be careful who you do surround yourself and who you open up to. That's just straight up. You know,
hard to do that for me. Open up to anybody.
That's just real talk right there. You know.
They just want to nosy. They don't even care, you know.
Yeah. So like my wife said, you know people by their fruits, man. That's why we keep Bible quotes to us. We read the word. We share the word with each other because, man, if you really study the Bible, it tells you how people are personally, women and male and female. And they don't talk about aliens. They don't talk about this. They don't talk about that. You know.
But
it tells the character
design, the original design. So if you don't know, and that's where the identity comes from, is your original design. What was your purpose here? Why are we here? People are lost because they don't know what their purpose is. They don't have an identity of why they're really here. And it's so vital that you have a core. Core.
Well, that's where a sense of why you think people are depressed. They don't even know why. Some people don't even know why they're depressed. You know what I mean? Like, they have everything they have. They have money, cars, fame, all that, and they're depressed. You know what I'm saying? So what's really going on? Because they don't have the characteristics. They don't have the characteristics of God. They have all the money. Yeah, they don't have the money. They have all the money, but you know why they're like that? Because they don't know how to give money away. It's simple. You know, so if they found out that they could give money, that probably would have kept them alive. It'll probably keep them out of depression. It'll probably keep them out of medication, drugs, alcohol, you know. And it's unacceptable. It's okay to, you know, to emotionals. We're human beings, man. We can't deny them. We can't hide them. We can't fight them. It is what it is, and that's what's wrong with the people. You know, is that they're trying to hide it. They're trying to fight it. They're trying to deny it, and that's where when you try to do those things, you don't accept God. You don't accept your mistakes. You don't accept. You know, you get into more deeper hole to whatever you're accustomed to, and that's the way I see it.
The thing is that you have to know that you're forgiven. You know, you have to first forgive yourself for the things that you didn't do how you thought you were, you know. And that's what I'm talking about, unconditional love, you know, forgiveness, you know what I mean? You have to know that, like, hey, we're not perfect, but I'm not far from perfect. But because I know my Father, I know his characteristics, and I know that he's not like man, and I know that he loves me, and he doesn't remember my sin from yesterday. And if I know, it's like if someone were to come and tell you about someone that you have a relationship with, you're gonna say, "Oh no, that's not that person," because I know them personally. They're out of pocket.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So if you take the time to build a relationship with your father, you see, because I didn't have a father. And I never knew what it was like to be loved by a father. I never knew what it was like to be protected.
So that's two of us. So look, that's what I'm saying. Look at the two relationships.
You have a relationship, and then when you understand where you stand in that relationship, because you can't be in a relationship if there's no trust, if there's no love, if there's no this or that. But see, so if you don't know the father in a relationship, in an intimacy, because so when someone when someone loves you and shows you love and they care for you and they show you affection and you know this and that, you're not gonna want to continue. If it's genuine love, you're not gonna want to continue to hurt that person.
Right.
You're like, oh man, you feel even worse. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I should have did that to them. You know what I mean? Because it's a conviction. It's not a condemnation. There's a big difference. It's not a guilt. It's a pricking in your heart to say, hey, you did that. That's not nice. You know, it's not like, hey, you're so, you're this and you're that. It's not.
Yeah. I know. It's like this. I know what she's getting. I know what she's saying. It's something like, it's just like my wife will always tell me, like, damn, dog, like you can't wash the dishes. Let's talk about it, right? And it's like I come back, right? And so without her texting me, or sometimes I come back and I look at the dishes, I'm like, damn, dog, I gotta wash those dishes. But I do it because I know how to make. I want to make her happy because I care about her. I want to.
Those are sacrifices, right? So like you have to sacrifice. And you have to, and that's the problem with this generation, is that it's all about self.
Yeah, they don't know nothing about sacrifice, man.
It's too easy. I mean, it's just
sacrifice
different now.
Giving, there's
kids,
no giving,
man. Nothing. They don't.
The Bible says that it's better to give than to receive. You know what I'm saying? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be money. It could be your time, your talent. It could be just, a gesture, a compliment. So many people are so hateful and so envious and bitter. They won't even tell a person, hey, you look good today. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they don't value themselves. So they're like, oh, they're all envious. Oh God, look at what she's wearing. Why? Oh, don't take all that. Or, you have all this negative verbiage up here, and it's because you don't know who you are. You're not. If you knew you were completely loved, you wouldn't even care what someone else is wearing.
So going back to like what she just said right now, how do we tell couples and relationships? Because we have been together, some people have been with each other 30 years and they still don't know each other. Straight up, they've been like, how do you guys, and I look at them like, how do you guys been surviving, bro? I'm not trying to get in your business, but let's talk about it, and they'll tell you their situations, man. There's one thing, and like my wife said earlier, people build walls that, man, bro, man, that's like, as a human being, I can't even climb that wall for you, man. No matter what we do together. So, how my wife has been saying is just like how I got through her, honestly, is I showed a lot of love, man. And it took fudge. It took, like, man, dude, like I said, that day when God said, like, man, that's how I love my children. My own people put me on the cross and I have to love and forgive them. And I'm like, damn, when I heard that, I was like, damn, so I gotta love my wife that much, and that's what people are not willing to do these days, man. You look at these days, celebrities, man, they'll go out there, get married for 2 days, and they're divorced the next 2 days later. They're showing that, they're publicity, analyzing that, showing that, and it's just like it's showing people's character, and people are worshiping now, because whatever you do in life, people see, man, and it's like teaching a baby, man. If you say that it's okay to be this and it's okay to be that, then that's what people are going to adapt to. So it's just, that's why things don't last these days, man, because there's no true commitment, transparency. Even though I ripped our marriage license, by law, we're still married. So it's just like I was being the idiot, I was lying to myself.
it just, if anything, that I can share is just, let's just stop the violence, the hate, and all that. And I know it's not easy to do,
Right. Easier said than done, obviously, but
not easy,
yeah.
It's just
It's not even that since we even hearing that, we heard that through all our years. Stop the violence.
Right,
It's like
right.
that's not even the violence. It's like what are we gonna do to prevent the violence? That's the question.
Talking about it, we're getting out there, we're being a voice, we're letting people know that it's okay to talk about it, we're letting people know. That's why we're making this platform. Some people are thank you, some people are gonna it's not for everybody.
I even seen that like you know what, like my wife said the other day, oh, I'm sorry, babe. Can't hear you. I even seen that, like my wife, we were talking about it earlier. Like there's even freaking YouTuber channels are going at it right now.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
like and this is social media. I mean, let's talk about that. Just like, so
Crazy,
it's just you got social media, YouTubers fighting, have a disagreements, talking crap, and this is just like, man, we're just a platform, man.
G-Lew needs to share a little bit too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, G-Lew.
That's for another time.
But it's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's just like, and then we gotta watch the words we say. It's not crazy, man. It's just reality, it's just reality, So you as an individual, straight out, you got to look at yourself, and you got to wake up to yourself. You shower yourself. Everybody knows their own personality and who they are. Like me and my wife said, the only reason we know we're not perfect, but the only reason why we learn from each other, because iron sharpens iron. And she wants the best for me, and I want the best for her. And I think every relationship is that. But in order to help in order to help your better half, you have to give a little. And a lot of people these days, they don't want to give a little no more.
You have to sacrifice. Like when you don't feel like doing it and you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Then you say, I'm going to do it because I know it's going to, bring the peace in your home,
Right.
Instead of fight against each other, we just kind of like bend once in a while. Sometimes one person's going to bend more than the other, and you can't be keeping score. Like,
yeah, because after yeah,
do this for me.
Yeah.
There's gonna be times where one's gonna bend way more than the other, and then there's gonna be times the other one's gonna bend.
Yeah,
and
because babe, what happens if you bend? What happens if you bend too hard? You break, right?
Yeah. So then that's when, you know what I mean. Like, so my thing is, I always tell Robert, I always wake up to see. Every day I wake up, I try to see what I could do to make my husband's life a little easier. That's my goal. And I tell him, wake up, instead of thinking about what I could do for you, think about what you could do for me. You know what I mean? Right. And then if I wake up and think what I could do for you, we're both thinking of what we could do for each other, and nobody's lacking nothing. You know what I mean? So you're just like, it's a bond, and then the other thing that kept us is that we pray for one another.
Yeah, because prayer. That's the main thing. Prayer in here.
Let me tell you why. Okay. In a marriage, there has to be trust, intimacy, all that good stuff, right? The biggest, the praying for one another, like literally getting on your knees and saying a prayer over one another is the highest level of intimacy you're ever going to feel.
You want to know why? You want to know why? Because instead of talking about your spouse, you can get on your knees and talk about it. Lord, I hate this damn bee right now. She's acting like a freaking idiot, motherfucker. Hey,
so
God
pray over each other.
Yeah, we do.
Because when your husband or someone's praying over you, it's intimate.
Symbolic. It's symbolic.
There's times like I'll hear him praying for me. Like he'll be like, Lord, I pray for my wife and this and that. I could be in a dead sleep and I'm weeping. I'm like, because that shows me that
I love her.
Sacrificed his time to pray for me. You know what I mean? So that is like the highest level of intimacy that you can do for your husband and an individual you're with. Like, you should try it, and let me know how, let me know if, because
I'm not married though. I'm not married.
No, but I mean, I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
so you want me to try? Okay, so if I try that on somebody,
No,
it's gonna be.
we're not just. I don't think she's just saying it to you, but everybody
No,
and
I
anybody
know.
who is married out there.
Yeah,
Who
I know
is
that. I'm
married?
just clowning.
You want more intimacy in your
But
marriage?
I
I'll
do
tell you
that
what
to a
though.
girl. Hey,
Hey,
if I do that to, if
You
I
know
do
what
that to her, it's gonna be a wrap, Big D.
Wait,
hey, that's what I was gonna say. How babe, the day G-Lo gets ready, he's gonna know.
G-Lo,
Hey, he's gonna be call. Hey, babe, he's gonna be calling us like you know what I mean. He's gonna be calling us. Hey,
G-Lo, what I'm saying is that
West
learn
Coast graffiti. What up?
for your future,
Right.
for your future marriage. So you already have the tools that you need to apply it, so that way you won't have to go through the situation.
yeah, that's a good analogy right there. Start praying for your lady, man. You want her to be your queen. You hey, say how you wanted
I'm
you.
working on it. I'm working on it.
Pray how you want it. Pray how you want it to come. This and that.
Right.
This
I'm working on it.
prayer in, and then then you prayer in, and then you get your gift, and then you can be, and then you
Right.
be good. It's not doesn't have to be
There's
right
there's a homie West Coast Graffiti. Shout out to West Coast
Yeah, shout out to
Graffiti.
West Coast graffiti.
That's
I like the way you do that. But yeah, man, relationships, they're crazy, man. Like I said, you heard my wife's story, her whole, I mean, she gave you a good rundown to it. And then
Yeah,
after
that
I
was
ran
deep.
into it, and then after in every life story, in everybody's life, there's always a beginning, a middle,
Middle
and an
and an
end, man.
end. So did we get to the end, or do we need to do? I think we may need to do part 2 soon. We got to talk. Well, let's talk about it. We'll talk about it and figure it out. I think we may have to do part 2, Monica,
Yeah,
because it's so much more. Then the journey's not over. You still got
you
more
have you
ahead
have
of you.
questions, right?
Yes.
Okay, ask the question.
Well.
From all this, from all this, what have you learned? Like, what do you take
Oh, I
from
learned a lot.
what
I
I
mean,
said?
I take that like you're a perfect example that there's no limit to anything you want to do. Like if you just heard her story right now, like all that she's been through. I mean, the bottom of the bottom. You know what I mean? To you know, from just childhood all the way up. She's been through everything, and for her to be now going for a bachelor's degree, soon to get her master's after or whatever, and the great things she's doing, her story. Man, it's just like wow, it
that's
gives you
crazy.
it
It
gives you
is.
hope. You know what I mean? To like that inspires you. You know what I mean? To not give that lets you know like whatever you're going through, someone else is going through worse. And still doing better. Like I could be in the gym. You know what? That's a perfect. I could be in the gym, bro. You be over there like one of those days, like you don't feel like going that hard, bro, or like whatever, doing a little whatever. And then I see this dude come over here with one arm, bro. You know what I mean? And you see his little nudge, from his one arm, and he gets up there and just goes to going hard, bro. I'm like, okay. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? That gave me another, but like, let me stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's funny. It's funny how you say that, G-Lo. That's how the relationships is. There's a big H word in this topic right here. It's humbleness, man.
it puts
Right.
things into perspective. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
have to put things into
Love
perspective
machine.
because so Big D is the
Love
one.
machine. Love machine. Hey, we're not even gonna go there. I don't even know why I posted that. We're not gonna go there tonight,
No,
Love
no.
machine. We're
No,
we're serious tonight,
that's
man.
where, hey, that's the homie
Serious
right. That's
tonight.
my boy, dog. Love machine.
That was
You
the
better make
funniest
sure.
time, bro. When you guys went at it, that was I didn't know, man. You a comedian, Big D.
Hey, he's
Hey,
trying to. Hey, the payback. We're
oh
gonna
my
have
God.
fun tonight. That's the
Oh,
payback right there.
wow.
Under
Shout out to Love
Tuli.
Machine. Always love.
That's good, Gilo. That's good. Thank you, because
Yes.
you got to remember, and we have to tell people like what you said. That's encouragement for me. You know what I mean? We got to speak on it. We got to ask the right questions. You know what I mean? A lot of times you ask people how you're doing, and they say, "Oh, okay," but then we just take it
That don't
as
work.
that.
Right.
We don't
Right.
really
Right.
dig into how they're really doing. Like,
Right.
do you
And sometimes people won't tell you. They could just say
are
I'm
we
okay, but
really?
have a lot going on because they don't want to. I'm the same way. I won't tell. Like they could ask, what's wrong? Oh, I'm good.
I'm
And I
good.
got a whole bunch of stuff going on, but I just may
Yeah.
not tell you that. You know?
And that
Yeah.
was my issue, is that I never talked about it. And my husband, thank God that he loved me, because I remember little thing. I remember one time he probes me, you know, because I'm not a talker, you know, like I deal with stuff inside, like how you said, like I'm just gonna deal with it, you know. I don't need to tell nobody. I don't want to tell nobody my problems, or you know, I don't want to put no problems on other people. They probably got problems of their own, you know, like and that's a lie. That's a lie that we believe for so long, and that's why we stay the way we are, and we get either anxiety or stress, and we get like medical issues because we don't share, we don't talk about it.
Yeah, as human beings, we're supposed to transfer and relate and communicate, right? That's why we have a voice, and a lot of people don't express their voice and they don't share because right away they think they're gonna get right away, especially in the United States. I don't want you to know my business. I don't want you to know my business. Oh, so what's the secret? You don't want to let's talk about it? Like, you know, that's the problem. You know?
Tell someone you trust. You're not gonna go.
That's the thing, though. You just said the key word, Monica. Nowadays, you know, it's not the same. So you don't trust a lot of people. You know, it's sad to say that is. So people, you know, trust is hard these days.
Okay, let me elaborate on that real quick. She just gave you her whole testimony and told you everything that she's been through, and some of the stuff are very sacred, bro. You know what I mean? Right. And she shared it. So if she could do it, you know, this is just a door opening saying like, hey, man, it's okay to, especially women, you know, women got to come forth, man. If there's something in the household that's not being right with your relationship or something, talk to somebody, man. There's always somebody to talk to, man. You just got to know who you're talking to. Yes, be safe and, you know, be careful who you share your business with, but don't hold nothing because, and then after when something, God forbid, tragic happens, they're like, man, I should have told her, man. I should have told that person. Or I should have said this and I should have did that. And that's where we're at. That's where the world is at right now, bro. I should have, would have, should have. Like, no, don't. On an act of should have, that doesn't work. What works is that I did it. You know, I did it. That's what works. You know.
And a lot of times people, they know the right thing to do, but they won't do it. They don't take the action. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that is because of pride. Right. You know, you have pride. You don't want to share. You don't want to get vulnerable. You don't want to say, you know, what's really going on, because either you're afraid to get judged, or you're afraid of what they're going to think, or you're afraid of getting shamed, and like I said, you have to do it in a safe place. I'm not saying, oh, go splat it on the internet like me. No, I'm just kidding. No, but you know what I'm saying? I don't care.
Let's talk about it.
I don't care.
Let's talk about it.
Let me tell you, I've lost the opinion of people a long time ago. Because let me tell you, people kept me in prison because of what I thought they were going to think of me. Right. You know, and so I'm not bound. I'm not chained up. I'm not in bondage like that no more. You know, because the reality is, I know God thinks very highly of me. So that's all that matters, because God was the only one who was there for me through all this. So why would I care what other people think? They weren't there. You know what I mean?
He said Monica's big D, big home.
Hey, let's talk about it. In reality, Love Machine, she is, dog. You know what I mean? In reality, hey, G-Lew. Hey, G-Lew, my right front program right here, dog. You know what I mean? She'll be like, come on, big dog, let's go. She'll be like, it's chow time, homie. Hey, my wife, she cooks breakfast, G-Lew. She says, chow time, big dog. I get up all like that, dog. I gotta take my fileto, homie. You know what I mean? I gotta shake the hyena, homie. Freaking Love Machine, dog. You know what I mean?
Love Machine.
You know what I mean? She gonna peel my cap, homie. I gotta be careful around here, dog.
You know what though? Let me correct that, Love Machine. Let me correct that for a minute, okay?
Oh my God. Okay.
When it's time for him to be that lion, trust me, I bow. I do. I bow. But
we have it's funny, but you know, in relationship, my wife, you know, we have a balance. She has a voice and I have a voice. That's where we make sure.
You know why? Because he loves me, he protects me, and he's always there for me. So
love.
Not the battle of who wears the pants. Now, in the beginning, I had big cojones. Yes, I did.
Big.
I lied to. you know, because the
Hey,
reality.
hey, G-Lew, yesterday when we're at the Santa Fe Spring Swap Meet, we told Denise Castillo, shout out to Denise Castillo.
I seen that, man. The wife,
Hey.
the husband, he said, "Who are you?" He said, I miss Denise Castillo. I said, "Oh man, all bad."
No, but hey, we told Denise one time, hey, check this out. One time, right? We're with my cousins. Check this out, G-Lew. I was with my cousins, right? And they were having a good old time, and we're having a good old time. We're just, family oriented. We're at I think, an event. And then after these guys were testing my wife, right? So I went over there and I kind of like told my wife something too, like, hey man, like, you better be cool and this and that. And since I had my chin up so high, she go, fool, put your chin down in front of my whole family, man. I was like, she came out sideways, dog. I was like, what the heck, man? Like, oh my God. I never heard that. I never heard that from anybody before. She's like, put your chin down. I was like, damn, dog. Like, should I do it or should I? Or should I not?
The Lord, okay, the Lord has really softened me, okay, because I was very, I'm so sorry.
Now it's like this, Ama.
Wow. Because I was so negative. I was so negative. That's why I could speak on, you know what I mean? Because everything that I talk about is what I went through. Everything that I talk about is something I came out of. And that's why I could speak on it. And my degree, what I'm getting is correctional support services. So I'm going to be a case manager to inmates.
Okay.
So it's a case management, I'm going for my master's, but I'm just saying, like, it's because I told the Lord when I was in prison, the one thing that was lacking is like people never had nowhere to go. They have to go back to their old environment.
Yeah, the system fails you.
And there's a middle ground where you have so my purpose in life is to help them cross over, to be productive members of society, to tell them you're not a product of your past, to tell them, hey, you know what, you can come. And I'm that one. So my name is, there's a meaning to my name. I'm a bridge. My name means a bridge over troubled waters. So there's a point from this to this, that middle right there, that transition in the middle is so hard. People won't go because they look, oh, I got a record, oh this, oh that. People make excuses. And so they can't say it can't be done because I've already jumped the hurdles. So I can say, so when they get to those low points where they think they can't go any further, I want to be the one to say, yes, you can. It's going to hurt. You're going to have to confront some things in your life. You're going to have to face some hardship. You're going to have to deal with some pain. But once you get over that hurdle, you're going to make it. You're going to be all right, and that's my purpose in life. I want to go back to the lifers that I left behind. I want to go back to the people that are still struggling in there. I want to go back to tell the people that everybody forgot about, to say you could do it too. And I want to be a voice, and I will go into the prisons, and I want to be a ministry. And, God has so many big things, if you just make yourself available. But if you're too busy doing your own thing, it's hard.
Interesting. Wow. I'm just like, wow. I'm just like blown away, man. The story was incredible. I mean, we talked about it tonight, Big D. What'd you say? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What time
we talked about it.
I didn't say a dang thing, and she did. You know what I'm saying?
We talked about it. Hey, I think
we talked about it, man.
We gotta have like a part 2 of this. I don't know, something.
I hope everyone's still on. I didn't scare everyone away.
Nah, everyone, everyone's there. They've been with us the whole ride. Big D, anything you want to add?
Yeah, hold on. Hey, can you put on the mute on your thing? It's on the keyboard.
Where?
I can mute it if you want me to.
Yeah, mute it.
Yeah, okay. Charge my.
All right, go ahead, bro. Uh-oh, now you're muted. Hold up. He's muted. Unmute yourself, Big D.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Is she muted?
Still
She
a
is,
echo.
but I
Yeah,
still hear
yeah,
the
yeah.
echo.
Lower it. You gotta lower it. I had to come and charge my phone.
Okay.
There? Yeah.
There
Real
it is.
quick. So yeah,
Yep.
man. Like I said, man. First of all, big shout out to my wife, man, coming out here and sharing her testimony. You know, I didn't think we were gonna go this deep and real far. So you know, it took a lot for hers. Again, a female to come out boldly and stand up like a man. You know, but you know, she knows. But she's a female doing her thing, and you know, we're all equal in one way or another. Nobody's higher, nobody's lower than below. We need to realize, you know, the things that we're doing and the actions that we're making. So, you know, for the next generation that they're looking at us, you know, they're making sure that what we're doing, if we're on point or not. But like I said, big shout out to my wife, man. Big shout out to DD Hairston, the producers, man. Big shout out to G-Lew, man. The Let's Talk show. This was just episode one. Love you guys,
We
man. Let
started
me give
off
a
strong, my boy. We started off with a bang, boy. We
right.
was
So
like, this
big
was
shout out to
big.
all those that support me. So I'll throw some channels that are out there. West Carson TV, like I said, I'll never forget him. You know, he gave me my first
He was
interview.
here tonight
Uh,
too. He showed
no,
up
no,
tonight.
that was West Carson TV. Yeah, he was here in the beginning. Shout out to like I said, everybody, Cholo Trucker, Denise Castillo, all those who follow us, man. Street Ain't Loyal. Can't forget CYA Entertainment. You know, what I mean, Love Machine. Everybody out there, Two Lost for Souls. You know,
Incredible
check us out,
Javier.
man. Yeah, Incredible Javier. Thank you, man. Incredible Javier, man. You know, he's come a long way. Check out his channel. But, you know, we're rocking, man. This is just something that G-Lew and us, he came with me and, you know, he wanted to make it happen. We're making it happen. So hopefully you guys liked it. Like I said, big shout out to my wife again and everybody who came and supported, man. That's the main thing, man. We appreciate you guys, man. You open the door, baby. Memories here. So you know, without you know, like man, without you guys, man, like I said, this is just the beginning, and we hope that we could get you on board, keep rocking this stuff. I'm excited, can't wait to go and keep doing the things that we're doing, man, purposely.
That part. Big D, G-Lew, man, this was an incredible world premiere. If you miss anything, you know, you can just go back and look back at it again. But please support all the channels. Support my homeboy Big D's channel. It's right
Yeah,
there. Big
share
D
it.
keeping
Yeah,
it
share
real.
it.
He's gonna be giving testimony and some big things with his wife coming up. Hopefully, I'll be looking for this book coming from his wife
Yeah.
soon. One day we'll get this book, but we're gonna bring her back on here soon too, as well for a part two because it's more we need to talk about. But we'll leave you with that because we gave you a lot already, man. So, like you said, this is
That's
just
right.
the beginning of this. Of many more shows to come. Man, we got some big things planned for this year. So
Shout out
stay
to the
tuned
Bricks.
in.
Shout out to Child, eh?
Shout out to my boy Child, man. We got to get my boy Child on here one day. Hey, sis, you got to work on him. You got to work on little bro, sis. You got to
You
work
heard me?
on him. Hopefully, we
Yeah.
can get him here. But
Shout
we'll
out to
work
the
on it.
homies from Whittier Quiet Village, man. You know what I'm
Whittier.
saying? My boys, man. You know.
Shout out to Whittier Quiet Village.
Say it, G-Lew. Whittier, where the what?
But hyenas are much prettier, homie. Hey, that's what I
All
heard.
right.
You know what I mean? That's what I heard.
Yes,
Hey,
yes,
shout
that's
out to all
it.
the ladies on this platform, Brenda. Shout
Yes,
out
yes.
to
Shout out
Miss
to the
Nate
ladies.
Love.
Hey,
What up, Nate?
we came out. We said ladies first, and today let's talk about it. G-Lew presented it, and man, shout out to you ladies, you strong ladies that are out there, man.
Shout out to the ladies, Denise Castillo. What up to Nothing But Love? Shout out to Nate Love.
Babe, the dog's out there, babe.
My producer, DD Hairston. Everyone out there. Western Ave Queen was here tonight. Shout out to Queen Jean and all the ladies. You know, we do it. Hopefully, we could get some of you ladies to, in the future, tell your story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, 'cause the stories need to be told, ladies. You know what I mean? So, yeah, all the love to you. So, with that being said, this is episode 1. Again, Monica told her story. Thank you, Monica. Again, it was incredible. Shout out to my boy Big D. And I guess that's it. Thank you, everyone. I'll let you end it, Big D and Monica.
Go ahead, babe.
I'm on mute.
Unmute her, big.
I'm so sorry. She was about to come slap me. I'm so sorry.
No, what
She got
the
check
heck?
you, homie. She got check you, dog. You know what I mean?
I'm really
Right.
nice. Babe, you're
Okay, I'm
echoing.
sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, babe.
Sorry. It's echoing.
You gotta turn my mic off.
Good night, Nina.
I'll just leave. I'll just leave on this part.
Bye. I'm just gonna say bye real quick. Okay, thank you everybody. Bye. Thank you, G-Lew. Thank you, DD. Thank you everybody who watched it. I know I'm long-winded, but it's the way God made me. But you know, thank you, G-Lew. I appreciate you. Know that I'm
Thank you.
praying for you and everybody
Thank you.
out there. You know, I hear you guys. I always think about you guys. You know, I'm supporting you. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, everybody. La Machine, all you. There's too many of you guys. And it's late and I got homework. I got 1 hour. So this is my last class. I'm excited. I'm going to be done. Thank you. Peace.
Love you. Thank you. Much love, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next time. Peace and love.